near the flames. But he wasn't really focused on cooking the treat. He had no plans to eat it. His attention was on the girl beside him. It was the night of their 9th grade graduation party at the lake, and after a year of trying, Jen had finally agreed to be his date. With his arm around her, they both gazed into the fire. Jen nestled close and rested her head on his shoulder. Jonah could feel her warmth, yet he noticed the sounds around them too. A few crickets chirped in the trees. Some toads were calling down by the river. Fowler's toad, he thought. And what about that sound? A whippoorwill? No, it must be a chuckwill's widow. Those were more common around here. Ah, life felt great. Perfect even. Just a few more days of school, and then they would have the whole summer together. He cuddled her closer, but she shifted and said, "I'm sorry, Jonah. I need to go inside for a moment, but I'll be right back. Save my place." She kissed his cheek, and he watched her walk away. She looked lovely. Despite the warmth of the fire, he felt the cool night air in all the spots where she had rested against him. Suddenly, he noticed someone else sitting next to him on the log. He turned and saw Noel. "Noel, what are you doing here?" "Jonah, I need to talk to you. It's important. I see you like Jen, and that's great. I want you to be happy, but I need to tell you that I like you too. I've liked you for years. If things don't work out, will you think about calling me?" I don't know, Noel. It's too early to think about that now." "I understand, but I want to remind you to think of me," she said. Then she reached into the fire and pulled out a heart-shaped brand that was warm and bright. She touched it to his chest, and Jonah felt a sharp sting. He immediately swatted her hand away, shocked, but he could already smell something unpleasant. Jumping up from the log and rubbing his chest, he exclaimed, "What just happened, Noel? You burned me! Why would you do that?" Noel was stunned. She couldn't find the words. Tears filled her eyes as she covered her mouth. Oh, Jonah, I'm so sorry. My brothers and father said it wouldn't hurt. I didn't know it would do that. Please let me help you." "You're not stupid. You just scared me. Please, leave me alone," Jonah exclaimed, turning and walking quickly to the house, pulling his shirt off to see the mark. Noel sat still for a moment, watching him walk away. She could hear him muttering upset words as he headed inside. She stood very still, tears streaming down her face. Everything at the party had come to a halt. Everyone was watching her. But she didn't mind. She was used to it. They knew her family and thought she was just like them. All she could think about was that the boy she loved would now dislike her forever. She turned and stumbled into the woods. She thought about walking into the lake to end her pain, but she felt she needed to make things right. She felt guilty toward Jonah and the world. He was right. Her family had serious problems. She had a father who made bad choices and 3 older brothers who were known for getting into trouble. They had all been in trouble with the law before, but she couldn't understand why her own family treated her this way. Why had they done this to her? Why did she ever believe they wanted to help? Soon, she planned to move out and leave just like her mom had. As she walked in the woods, she picked up a hot poker and pressed it against her chest. A low moan escaped her as it burned. After a moment, she threw it into the lake. Everything she had hoped for was gone. She started the long, lonely walk home, not even thinking about the mark on her chest. Still in shock, she walked through the door, tears still flowing. "What happened to you, Noel? Did he hurt you? Look at your chest." "No, he didn't hurt me. He just ran away. Why did you all do this to me? Why lie to me and ruin everything I wanted?" "Come on, sis. We were just having fun. He's not good enough for you. You're our sister and we have to protect you. Like Dad says, we can't have you end up like Mom. That guy isn't worth your time. Don't worry, when the time is right, we'll help you find someone better." Laughing, one of her brothers said, "And she'll be 40 by then, right, Kyle?" "Yep, that's the plan." "No, you won't pick a husband for me when I'm 40. I don't understand. I do everything I can to take care of you and Dad, and this is how you repay me? Why?" Not waiting for an answer, she stumbled to her room. She locked the door, moved her dresser in front of it, just like she always had since she was 12. She didn't trust them at all. Too many moments that made her uneasy. She never felt comfortable alone with her brothers. They made her nervous. The door had been tested too many times at night, especially when they had been drinking. But tonight, she didn't care about any of that. She didn't even care about the hurt on her chest. It was small compared to the emptiness inside her. She took out a wrinkled photo of her mother, the only one in the house. "I understand why you left, Mom. I really do. I just wish you had taken me with you." The next evening, Saturday, Jonah was heading to Jen's house. He felt excited. Last night had taken an unexpected turn. Jen was more focused on helping him, which was nice, but the romantic moment didn't happen. He never got that kiss he had hoped for, the one that would mark their summer love. He thought they could take a walk or sit on her porch. It didn't really matter. Then a car drove up and 3 guys got out. You hurt our sister." "No, I think she hurt me." "Maybe, but then you hurt her feelings. No one messes with our sister without our say-so. You'll need to be taught a lesson." He raised his hands as they neared him. "I don't know what you mean. I never touched her. A fist struck him in the face, leaving him shocked. Life wasn't like movies where one punch ends everything. He couldn't think or see clearly. What? Another punch landed in his stomach. He collapsed and vaguely felt kicks, but all he could do was curl up and wait for it to stop. There was laughter, and he faintly heard a car driving away, but he stayed lying on the grass. After a while, he slowly lifted his head. Every part of him ached, but it wasn't as bad as he expected. He had never been in a fight before. It was all new to him. Why did some people actually enjoy fighting? Strange. But nothing seemed broken. He still had all his teeth. He took out his phone and called Jen. His words were a bit jumbled. "Jen, sorry I'm late. I ran into some trouble. I'll need to stay home tonight, sorry." "Oh, Jonah, are you okay?" "Yeah, I think so. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? Sorry. I was really looking forward to..." "Jonah, I can't see you anymore." "What? Why? Did I do something?" "No, not at all. You're great, but my family. We got some scary calls. They said if I went out with you, I would be in trouble too. I thought about ignoring them, but when my family found out who they think might be behind this, well, I'm not allowed to see you. I'm really sorry, Jonah. I wanted us to have a great summer together, but you sound terrible. Do you need help?" His world fell apart. No, I'm fine. I don't blame you. I would hate myself if something happened to you like what just happened to me. See you in school." He walked home quietly, slipped in the door, filled some bags with ice, and went to bed. The pain was okay. It turned out you could get hurt, and it wouldn't hurt as much as he thought. The brothers were right, though. He was tall and a bit awkward. Anyone could probably overpower him. Even some girls could likely do it. He felt a rush of anger. Never again. No one would treat him like that again. He made a promise to himself, starting tomorrow. On Sunday, he woke up and tried to get out of bed, but then lay back down. Getting hurt didn't sting much at first, until the next day. Everything ached, but he had things to do. He got up, dressed, and by the time he reached the kitchen, he started to feel a little better. His chest was the most sore, and not just because of the fight. His mom turned to him, shocked. "Jonah, what happened? I thought you were out with Jen last night." "I never made it. I ran into some friends who wanted to talk about my music choices." "That's not true, Jonah. You got hurt on Friday and then again on Saturday? Is that Noel again? Or her brothers? Should we call the police?" "I'm fine, Mom. I can handle it," which he clearly couldn't. "But can you take me to the sports store when it opens? I want to use some of my savings. I need to change things up." He bought weights, a weight bench, and a jump rope, but he knew he needed a plan, some goals, and maybe some advice. He went online. At school, they did a fitness test, which he wasn't great at, but then he found one for Navy SEALs called the PST. It included sit-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, running, and swimming, with minimum and best goals. More importantly, there were helpful videos to get started. He watched YouTube clips on weight training and more. He didn't want to join a gym and be the skinny weakling everyone mocked, so he planned to do it on his own. Yet, he realized that even if he became really strong, anyone could still overpower him. So he searched for a nearby martial arts school within walking distance of his school. Monday morning felt terrible. After what happened on Saturday and what he put himself through Sunday, his body was sore, but he was determined. As he got off the school bus and limped into school, everyone noticed him. He still looked bumpy and bruised. Jen spotted him, tears in her eyes. "Oh, Jonah, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I guess. I just wish we could have spent more time together." "Me too, but I'm really sorry." At noon, he walked into the lunchroom, and once again everything went silent. Then whispers began. He turned to leave and found himself face to face with Noel. She gasped and broke into tears. She raised her hand to his face as if to comfort him, but when she saw the anger in his eyes, she let it fall. Here, Noel. I think my cheek still has one spot that isn't bruised. Why don't you punch me there and fill in that spot your brothers left? They did this? Jonah, I didn't know. I never told them. You have to believe me. I would never want to hurt you or let anyone else hurt you. I'm so sorry. How can I help? Like I said on Friday, just stay away. I'm not sure I can handle any more of this. She turned and hurried down the hall, but her brother grabbed her arm to stop her. Sis, what's wrong? What's wrong? You went after Jonah. Why did you do that? Because he hurt you. No one hurts my sister. He didn't hurt me. I hurt him. Well, that's a mistake on my part. She punched him in the face, knocking him down. That's right. It's your mistake. We'll talk when I get back. After that, she stopped helping around the house. No cooking, no cleaning, no laundry. She had enough. They'd have to take care of themselves, and it worked until Friday. She knew something was up when she saw her youngest brother, Greg, at school. He gave her a sly grin that made her uneasy. She worried about it all day and grew more nervous when she got home to find her brothers sitting on the couch drinking. Oh, Noel. Looks like you've been a bit of a troublemaker. Dad's got something to say to you when he gets home. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not the only one responsible for everything around here. You three. Noel, just go check down the hall. You've got a little surprise waiting. Every step down the hall filled her with more dread until she saw it. Her bedroom door was gone, taken off the hinges. Her heart sank. It was one thing to feel pressure, but now she had no space of her own. She hurriedly packed a few clothes and essentials into a small bag and hid it under the bed, just in case she had to leave. She then slipped into the closet, locking the door behind her to feel safe for a moment. She heard her father come home and quickly came out of the closet, standing at the foot of her bed. She stood still, trying to shut down her emotions. She felt nothing, looked blank, and made no effort to defend herself. She just hoped the conversation wouldn't go on too long. Noel, I'm disappointed. You've been irresponsible, and on top of that, you're not helping out like you should. You've got about 30 seconds to get back to doing your part, or that door stays off for good. What's it going to be? I'm sorry, Dad. I'll do my share again. I shouldn't have stopped. Please forgive me. Good. That's what I want to hear. We all care about you, Noel. Now go out there, apologize to your brothers, and get dinner started. And while you're at it, make one of those chocolate cakes we all like. We need to celebrate being one big, happy family again. And you need to get working, Noel. You're behind on the laundry, the dishes are piling up, and the restrooms need cleaning. I don't understand why your brothers make such a mess when they drink. Kyle! Travis! Your sister wants to talk to you and fix the door. Greg, can you get me a drink? It's been a long week. After school ended, Jonah threw himself into his routines. He woke up early, did exercises, lifted weights, ran 4 miles to the lake, and swam hard for 45 minutes. Then he ran 3 miles to his family's bakery before heading to the training center after his shift. He would attend classes and work out for an hour or two, then run home again. It was tough, but he loved it. After all, he didn't have much else to do. No girl seemed interested in going out with him for long. They would call it quits after just a date or two. Word got around, and soon he was having trouble getting even first dates. Jonah got stronger each year, but still no dates. He was accepted into a wilderness EMT program in Colorado, which combined college classes with EMT training. Summers would be filled with activities like search and rescue, rope courses, rock climbing, kayaking, nature studies, and leadership courses. He was eager to begin and signed up for summer classes to get ahead. Noel earned her GED in her junior year just in case, but continued school to take nursing courses. Her evenings were filled with nurse aid classes, and she got her certification by senior year. She was accepted to a nursing school in Washington, far from her father and brothers. Between her busy schedule and her share of chores at home, sleep was hard to come by. Jonah was excited. He finally had a date for the graduation formal with a new girl at school. He double-checked his tuxedo, picked up the flowers and corsage for Emily when his phone rang. It was Emily. Hi, Em. I'll be there soon to pick you up. I can't wait for the party with you. Wait, are you crying? What's wrong? She was sobbing. Jonah, I'm really sorry, but I'm scared. For 2 days, my family received strange phone calls telling me not to go with you. I told them to leave us alone, but they even slashed my car tires and left a note saying that it was just the beginning. I just can't go with you. I understand. It's okay. You're making the right choice. I don't want anything bad to happen to you or your family. Those people sound dangerous. Thanks for considering me. Good luck at state in the fall. If you still want to go, I can stay home to make things easier for you. I bet you'll look lovely in your dress. And what you just offered is exactly why I wanted to go to the dance with you. But my family feels I need to stay safe. Thanks, though. Have a great summer in Colorado. I'm envious. He decided to go to the party anyway. He knew none of the girls would want to dance with him, but the band was supposed to be great, and he could hang out with his friends. He drove to school, got a drink, and as he turned around, Noel was there. You're sneaking up on me again, aren't you, Noel? Jonah, I know you don't think much of me, but could we have just one dance together? Please? It's okay if you're not into girls. That's fine, please. He stared at her in surprise. Not into girls? Why do you think that? Well, you don't date any girls in school. You're the best-looking guy in the class, and you're always with the guys. Are you serious, Noel? I never have dates because of you. Every time I start to date someone, trouble happens. I'm untouchable. I had a date for tonight and you messed it up. Jonah, I didn't do that. I'd never do something like that. I had no idea. I want you to be happy, even if you don't like me. Oh no, my brothers, Jonah, I'm really sorry. If I had known. It's hard to believe you, Noel, and I'm tired of your apologies. But Jonah, She started to cry and her makeup began to run. She turned to leave, saying, I would never do anything to hurt you. I'll go. Have a good life. If it helps, I'm also untouchable. I haven't had a single date in high school. My brothers might have caused that too. She cried all the way home, feeling hurt. She ran to her room, locked the door, took off her dress from the thrift shop, and cried some more. Her brothers looked at each other. That guy is at it again. We need to deal with him this time. Let's wait until later tonight and... At 2 a.m., the phone rang at the Baxter home. He heard his mom gasp and then say, No, it can't be. We'll be right there. Hearing the call made him jump out of bed. What's wrong, Mom? The bakery's on fire. We need to go see how bad it is. How could this happen? But Jonah had a feeling. He blamed himself. Anger bubbled inside him, but he kept calm. Let's go. I'll drive. We need to see the damage. When they arrived at the bakery, the front window was broken and smoke was still coming out. The fire chief stopped them from going inside. Luckily, it's just the front window and some display cases. There's a lot of smoke, but it looks like someone tried to start a fire, the fire marshal explained. This is a crime scene, so we have to close the shop for a few days for an investigation. After that, you can have contractors take a look. But for now, nobody can touch anything, okay? Do you have any idea who could have done this? It's unbelievable. Everyone in the town loves this bakery. I really hope you can get it up and running again soon, or my wife is going to make things difficult for me. His mother looked at him and asked, Noel? He replied, Maybe it was her brothers. She says she didn't know anything about girls not dating me and claims she never went out with anyone either. But it's hard to believe her. That whole family is strange. You two take the car home and get some rest. I'll stay here tonight to make sure no one tries to come in through the front window or cause more trouble. Tomorrow I'll get some plywood to cover things up and protect the store from the weather while you contact the insurance company and sort everything out. And he thought, tomorrow I'll take a little trip to a nearby town to get a few things. It's time to settle the score. 2 nights later, he was on the hill above Noel's family's used car dealership. He was sure there were no security cameras aimed this way, but just in case, he dressed in dark clothing and wore a ski mask to appear larger. He set up a slingshot between 2 trees and took out a dozen balloons filled with gas. He placed the first one in the sling, pulled it back, and let it fly. It landed right on one of the cars below. One by one, he launched the balloons onto the cars, trying to keep them close together. Then he took out a flare gun and aimed it at the area. With a whoosh, the flames spread, and several cars quickly caught fire. Worried that security footage might show where the flares came from, he carefully checked the area to make sure everything was clear. He picked up a branch and wiped away his footprints before turning to leave. He didn't stay long and ran 3 miles to the park. There, he took off his outer clothes and rubber gloves, then rolled back an old log near the lake and stuffed everything inside a spot he had prepared earlier. He covered it all with leaves and rolled the log back into place, smoothing the area around it before running home and slipping into bed. Chaos erupted at Noel's house. She cried herself to sleep over the loss of the bakery. Her brothers denied any involvement, but she knew they were the ones responsible. Too many smirks and secretive gestures gave them away. That guy just set fire to the car lot. We need to head there and teach him a lesson he'll never forget. And just so you know, sis, if you ever thought about still liking him, you won't after we're done. You might not even recognize him. Kyle, please don't. You don't know it was Jonah. I swear I'll never want to see him again, please. He'd never do anything like that. And to avoid any confusion, I'm taking your phone and computer. See you later, sis. Lock her door too, Kyle. Better yet, get one of those big screws from the garage and use it to secure her door. That way we don't have to worry about her trying to escape. Sure, Dad. Jonah was out for his morning run to the lake when a car arrived, and 4 guys got out. Set the phone up over there and start it. Oh, Jonah. You've been causing trouble. My dad is really upset with you. 12 cars damaged and more besides. You'll need to pay for that. Jonah looked confused. What? Oh, the phone, Jonah? My dad thought it was better if he stayed away. He had to take care of things with the police, just like at the old bakery. I don't know what you mean. What cars? Jonah, you set the cars on fire and we aren't sure how, but that doesn't matter. We're here to teach you a lesson you won't forget. You might not be the same after this. We burned your bakery because you hurt my sister again. She's not as smart as she should be, you know? We will make sure you and no one else can date her. We'll decide who she can marry soon enough, but let's focus on the matter at hand. Last time we just hurt you. This time we'll do more damage and you won't be able to eat solid food for a while. Look, Kyle, I didn't hurt your sister. Don't know anything about the cars, and I ask you to reconsider. I fear you all won't be the same after this. Let's take a moment to breathe and let the authorities handle it. They all laughed. Kyle moved closer to Jonah and swung at him with his left fist. Jonah shifted slightly and the punch missed. Kyle then swung with his right, and Jonah dodged, kicked him in the stomach, then in the face. Kyle stumbled back, and Jonah struck his knee, causing him to fall. The others watched in shock, but quickly regained their composure and charged at him. Instead of backing down, Jonah moved forward, striking and defending skillfully. Within moments, it was over. He pulled out his phone and called for help. Hello, this is Jonah Baxter. I want to report an attack near the park. These guys admitted to burning down my parents' bakery. I need a police officer and some ambulances. No, I'm fine. Yes, I'll wait here. He went to see if he could offer any help. Here's the phone, officer. Instead of me explaining, why not take a look? Oh no, the phone is locked. Let me try this. He walked over to Kyle and swiped the phone while holding it up to his face. He opened the video and handed it to the officer. So how did you learn to fight like that? A group of boys really picked on me in 9th grade. I figured it might happen again, so I needed to be ready. I tried to stand up to them. Yes, you did. Will you be around? Yes, for a few days. But then I'm supposed to start school in Colorado. I can come back or do Zoom calls if you need me. We'll keep in touch. It looks like we have some evidence about these guys for other charges. Do you want to file any charges for what happened? No, I'm okay. That decision will be up to the county attorney. We'll be in contact. Noel heard her dad answer the phone. What a mess. Let me call our lawyer and head down there. Unbelievable. Noel smiled. I'll take care of things, Jonah. Mom, I'm going to call the school and stay here to help. You'll need a lot of help getting the shop back in shape and ready again. It sounds like the insurance company could take a while to settle things. Absolutely not. I won't hear another word about it. Your dad and I can handle this. I know you think we're old-fashioned, but we can manage. We've worked hard to let you chase your dreams just like we did when we started the bakery. But no discussion. We will miss you so much, Jonah. But staying will break my heart. Please, give me a hug and go. Call me every day to let me know how things are. It'll take you a few days, but at least the trip is straightforward. Now, hug me and enjoy yourself. It sounds exciting. I wish we could help you settle in, but not a problem, Mom. You need to be here. That's what matters. Love you. Later that day, Maria Baxter sat on the couch with tears in her eyes. The house felt so empty. Where had the years gone? How could Jonah be leaving already? She looked at his baby pictures, remembering the day she brought him home, her youngest child. She had worried about this empty nest phase, and now it was here. The doorbell rang. She wiped her eyes, took a deep breath, and opened the door. A young woman stood there. "Yes? Can I help you?" The girl looked nervous, but took a deep breath. "Mrs. Baxter, I'm Noel Carter and I—" Maria gasped. "Miss Carter, haven't you and your family caused enough trouble already?" "Yes, ma'am, we have. That's why I'm here." "What could you possibly want? Are you here to cause more problems? Why are you here?" For a moment she seemed overwhelmed, but then she stood tall, looking directly at Mrs. Baxter. "Baxter, I want to help. I want to make things right. Oh, Mrs. Baxter, She covered her face with her hands and let out a soft cry, but she quickly composed herself. "Mrs. Baxter, I was supposed to be going to nursing school in Washington, far away from my family. But I can't leave. I need to make amends. To you, to Jonah, to everyone, really. So starting today, I will go to nursing school here and work as a nurse's aide at the assisted living facility during the night. I know you have insurance, but it won't cover everything or the losses your family faced. So I want to give you one of my paychecks each month to pay you back for what my family has done. It's not a lot, but I'm living on my own and I need some money for basic needs, even with my school loans. I'll do anything to help. I can work at the shop, clean, cook, or help with shopping. Whatever I can do between school and work." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Please, Mrs. Baxter, I need to do something. I feel so bad. I care about Jonah so much and my family has hurt him." "You care about my son?" She nodded. "I knew he was the right person for me since middle school. I know it sounds silly, but I've never dated him or even talked to him much except to apologize. But he's always on my mind. All I want is to make sure he is happy and to support my brothers." She paused. Taking her hand, Mrs. Baxter pulled her into the house. "Come in, dear. Let's have a cup of coffee and talk. I think we have a lot to discuss. There's more to this than I realized." She smiled. "And that old announcer used to say something like, 'And for the rest of the story.' I can't remember his name, though." Noel looked at her, confused. "It must be before your time." An hour later. "So, you didn't know about the fire or the fight beforehand?" She shook her head. "After the cars caught fire, they went to find Jonah. I wanted to warn him, but they took my phone and locked me in my room. They even jammed my door shut. I was really worried. I thought I might lose it by the time my dad went off the deep end. I was so relieved when I learned Jonah was okay." "You haven't mentioned your mother." "My mom left when I was 5. I guess there was too much going on. I don't remember her much and don't blame her. I've been planning to leave for years, but I felt I needed to finish high school even though I got my GED last year. To be honest, I'm not sure if they were ever officially divorced. I don't blame her, but it meant I became like Cinderella. I had to take care of 4 lazy brothers. I did the cooking, cleaning, and laundry. I was like their maid. I worked all weekend while they relaxed. I guess that's why nobody ever wanted to date me either." "Really? Did you ever think about finding your mother?" "I think about it a lot. I hope she is happy. Soon? Maybe? Not yet. At least Jonah seemed to have some good dates. Not a single guy ever asked me out. Ever. So, Mrs. Baxter, I want to help." "No. I'll tell you what I told my son not long ago. Go to school in Washington. We can manage." "Too late. Everything is already set, and I have a small apartment and things. So..." Maria looked at Noel. She liked her. She was honest, open, full of energy, had strong values, and it was clear she cared for Jonah. She would have been perfect for him. Too bad. "Okay, it's a deal." Noel jumped up and hugged her, almost spilling her coffee. Thank you. I work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights from 7 to 7. The extra pay helps. I have classes most days, but I'll make it work after school and during the weekends." "When do you plan on sleeping?" "I hear sleeping is overrated, at least for now." They both laughed. "But, Mrs. Baxter, please don't tell Jonah. I don't want him to think I'm doing anything wrong or worry that something is up. Deal? When he comes home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I'll just kind of disappear. Deal. But remember, just like I told Jonah, your education is the most important thing. And in your case, your job too. If you need anything, you have to let me know. You're too young to be on your own completely. If you need help, please ask me." Noel's eyes filled with tears as she touched Maria's hand. "Thank you. That's more than I could have ever hoped for. I won't let you down, I promise." I'm sure you won't. How about we start at the bakery? Great. Do I need to bring anything? Nope. I have everything we need. Noel helped take out the old cabinets, counters, display area, and flooring, then helped put in the new ones. She scrubbed, sealed, and painted the walls while they gathered supplies and prepared to cook. Within 2 weeks, they had been inspected again and were ready to bake. There was a lot of laughter and storytelling as they enjoyed each other's company. The three of them became close quickly. With friends from nursing school, Noel created social media pages for the bakery and filled them with photos of the shop and their treats. They also put up flyers everywhere to promote the reopening. The grand reopening was on a Saturday, so Noel could be there. She welcomed both old and new customers, helped with their orders, and chatted with everyone. She loved it. She felt useful and appreciated. It was a completely new feeling for her, something she had never experienced at home. There, she only felt like she had been used. By the end of their first day, they had almost sold out of everything: bread, cookies, rolls, donuts. Maria had posted pictures of their opening, and as they closed the doors and locked up, her phone rang. "Jonah, how are you? It's so nice to hear from you. What's new?" "Congratulations on opening up so quickly. How did you do it?" "Well, we had a lot of help. We almost sold out today." "That's great. I can't believe you have a website and social media now after all these years." "Well, we had help with that too. I think it will really support our business. We can share updates, sales, new items. We wouldn't have thought of half of this without our generous helpers." "Speaking of helpers, Mom, one of your photos shows a girl with dark hair who kind of looks like Noel. Was she there?" "I'm not sure what she looks like, dear. I'll check the yearbook. That was probably just a customer." "With an apron? Mom, please be careful. I know the sons are in jail right now, but their dad's out and, well, the whole family is trouble. So just be cautious, okay?" "All right, so how's school going?" And then the questions began. "Are classes okay? Your room? Are you eating well? Have you made any friends? Do you like the place? Meet any nice girls?" When Noel heard the last question, a piece of her heart broke again. She knew he would find someone, and it wouldn't be her. But she just wanted him to be happy, right? No, she wanted to be the one to make him happy, but how? After hanging up, she turned to Noel. "We couldn't have done all this without your help. The insurance company is still working on our claims, so thank you." She wished there was a way to get Jonah to notice her. They would make a great couple. "I tell you what, Henry, I'm not cooking tonight. You're taking Noel and me out for dinner." "I would love to, Maria, and thank you for the offer, but I have to go to work. I need to be there around 6:30. Oh, that reminds me." He pulled a check out of his pocket and handed it to her. "Oh dear, no, you've done so much already. A deal is a deal, Mrs. B." He hugged them both and got a bit emotional. "Thank you. You have done more for me than you know. So, are you baking tomorrow?" Maria nodded. "Can I help? Maybe you can teach me a few things. I can cook, but I've never baked, not really, just cookies and boxed cakes for birthdays." A flash of anger crossed her face as she remembered the things she had to do for her family, but then she relaxed. "See you tomorrow, and thank you again. It means more to me than you can imagine." Maria sighed as she left. "Henry, I swear she's the daughter we never had. Her childhood must have been hard, but she's grown into such a wonderful young woman." As Jonah hung up, he felt uneasy. That had to be Noel. The hair and shirt looked so familiar. His mom had seemed evasive and changed the topic too quickly. What was going on? Noel had become a part of the family, often spending time with the Baxters or at the shop. She was getting better at baking and loved helping Henry prepare treats to sell. They shared many hugs and playful conversations. With Thanksgiving approaching, Maria said, "Noel, Thanksgiving is coming up. Jonah just told me he won't be coming home, so you'll join us, right?" "Oh, Mrs. B, I would love to, but I actually have to work a double shift on Thursday to let others spend time with their families. I work again on Friday night, too. I'm sorry. Can you save me some leftovers?" "We'll do even better. You need to rest on Friday, so why don't we have turkey and all the fixings on Saturday? I'll record the parade so we can watch it together. It wouldn't be the same without you, Noel." "Really? You would do that?" "Absolutely." She hugged Maria tightly, not wanting to let go. "I've never had a homemade Thanksgiving meal before, at least not that I can remember. My dad would just order a bunch of food and serve it buffet style so he and the boys could watch the games. It wasn't really like in the movies, especially since I had to clean everything up. So, Mr. B, I would love to come, but only if you let me bring some things and help cook. I want to learn. Deal? Yes, Noel, that's a deal, but please call me Maria. I've tried, but I can't. Calling you Maria feels like you are more of a friend, and you mean a lot more to me than that. Sorry. This time, Maria pulled Noel in for a hug. Darn you, Noel. You made me all teary-eyed again. I have to drink extra water to stay hydrated after you make me cry so often. They laughed together, enjoying their easy friendship. So Maria, right? No deal. And they hugged once more. Okay, Mrs. B, let's plan the menu. Jonah came home for Christmas. 3 weeks together meant a lot of catching up. Noel stayed busy and took on shifts for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. Holiday pay lets others be with their families, she explained. On Christmas Eve, just after lunch, Maria said, I need to run out and drop off a few things. I'll be back in a couple of hours and then we can make dinner. Do you need help, Mom? No, Jonah, but thank you. Spend some time with your dad and I'll be back soon. She drove to Noel's place and realized she had never been there before. How had that happened? She parked in front of a worn-down apartment building in a rough part of town. That can't be right! But the address was correct, so she went up and knocked on the door. She heard Noel say, Who is it? Maria. Noel sounded worried. There was a reason she hadn't invited the Baxters over. Slowly, she opened the door. Mrs. B, please come in. Can I get you some coffee or something? Maria looked around and was surprised. There was only one room. A chair, a lamp, a foam pad on the floor, cardboard boxes for a dresser, and a small table with one chair. But there were plants everywhere, and a big pine branch filled with handmade decorations. A goldfish was in a small tank on the table. She looked up and saw Noel was crying. She seemed very embarrassed. Come here, Noel. They hugged. Maria could feel Noel's tears. It's okay. Why didn't you tell me? This is all I really need, and it's all I can afford. I don't make much as an aide, especially with school, and even with loans, I just feel so ashamed. No, please don't feel that way. Henry and I didn't have much when we started, and our first place looked quite similar. Well, maybe not exactly like this. But I love what you've done here. They both laughed, and Noel hugged her again. Oh, Mrs. B, if you only knew how much you've changed my life. I love you. Is it okay to say that? I'd feel sad if you didn't say it because I feel the same way. You're like a daughter to me, but you need to stop making me cry all the time. Remember I warned you about that. They smiled at each other and laughed again. Seriously, Noel, you've brought so much joy into our lives. Do you have a tissue? You're making me all teary again. Anyway, this changes my plans a bit. Here are some gifts we got for you. I know you'll try to refuse, but get in the SUV. I'm taking you shopping. But Mrs. B, you need to be home with Jonah. It's Christmas Eve. I won't take no for an answer, and Henry would feel bad if I didn't help. Besides, he can keep Jonah busy. It's not like he's 6 and needs milk and cookies anymore. I hope the stores are still open. A few hours later, they had a new bed, dresser, linens, a toolkit, and more than they could fit in the car. Mrs. B, you shouldn't have. I'm trying to repay you for what my brothers did, and I'm sure you spent all the money I gave you. I need to stop worrying and let me do this. Now let's see if we can put some of this together with that new tool set I got you. Wow, all done. And it's only 5:30, so you can grab something to eat and then head to work. Maria started to tear up. Oh no, Noel, you got me again. Please stop. Hugging her, she said, I love you. I wish you could be with us tomorrow, but you're working the day shift, right? That's another long shift. That's a lot to handle. Make sure to get some rest tomorrow night in your new bed with fresh sheets and blankets. Let me know how you're doing. Merry Christmas, Noel, and thank you for being part of our family. Mrs. B, I love being part of the family, but I don't want to make things awkward for you and Jonah. Please don't let me interfere. And that's why I care for you. Merry Christmas. Oh, wait! She ran to the closet. Here are a few gifts for you and Henry. Merry Christmas. Don't forget the reindeer food. They shared a laugh. Thank you for all the wonderful gifts. Oh, and I think I might have found my mom. I plan to call her tomorrow. Oh, Noel, that's amazing. It takes a lot of courage. What a special Christmas surprise. Where do you think she lives? About 4 hours away in Virginia. I'm not completely sure it's her, but we'll see. I have to admit I'm pretty nervous. What if she doesn't want to talk to me? Noel, the problem was with your father, not you. Maybe you have new siblings, or maybe she's alone and needs you just like I did. You should reach out. They shared another hug. Good luck at work. Mom, thank you for all the gifts. I'm not sure how I'll get them back to Colorado, but they're wonderful. But you haven't opened this one. And here's one for Dad. From N? Who is that? Oh, just someone from church. But you don't go to church. We used to, and now she visits the store. She opened the box. Oh my, look at this lovely knitted scarf. And look at the pattern. Here's a card that says, Made with Love, Merry Christmas. She held the scarf close and shed tears. You two might not see it, but this must have taken so much time. Every row is different, and you have to follow the pattern carefully. It takes hours and hours, and it's beautiful. I love the colors. Mom, are you all right? Here, let me get you a tissue. Maria showed the scarf to Henry as more tears fell. My Noel, she thought. Thank you. The next day on Christmas, during her lunch break, Noel nervously dialed the number. Hello, Merry Christmas. Hi, I'm trying to find someone. Is this Maggie Carter? No, who is asking, please? This is Noel Carter, or could it be Maggie Bristol? Sorry, ma'am, there's no one by those names here. Okay, I'm sorry for bothering you. I hope I didn't interrupt anything. Merry Christmas. You too. Her heart sank. She had been so sure. The marriage records and everything else she had found. It had to be her. She sighed and was about to go back to work when her phone rang. She set down the folded paper bag and answered, Hello, this is Noel. Merry Christmas. Noel, you just called here. I wasn't thinking, it's Christmas and all, and Noel heard a deep breath. Sorry, I'm nervous. Are you Noel Carter from Rocky Mount? Yes, that was my name when I was younger. Now I'm just outside Wilmington. There was a brief silence. Wow, you're my sister. I'm Maggie Spencer, but I used to be a Carter. I'm Sophia. Oh my gosh, she's going to be so surprised. Noel, she talks about you often, especially at Christmas. Really? She thinks about me? Absolutely. She gets all emotional and has searched everywhere for you, but there's nothing online. Not much to find, and no one really knew me. I feel pretty ordinary. What? No way. My mom always says, nobody's a nobody. You have to come visit. You need to surprise her. She'll be so happy, I promise. Laughing, Noel replied, Not quite the welcome I imagined, but I can't today. I have work. Working on Christmas? That's a bummer. What about tomorrow? She teaches at the community college, so she's off. Sure, I'll need some rest since I worked last night too, and it's about a 4-hour drive, so maybe around 10 or 11. That sounds great. I'll make sure she looks good for the surprise. I'll even film it to share later. I can't wait to finally meet you, sis. Noel pulled out her phone. Mrs. B, just talked to my sister. I'm going to visit tomorrow. Thanks for helping me be brave. Merry Christmas. Love you. That's fantastic. Safe travels. Let me know how it goes. Miss you. Love. Who was that, Mom? Just a friend wishing us a Merry Christmas? He frowned, feeling uneasy about everything. Maybe his parents were just getting older. But what was up with the N on the present? As Noel drove into the driveway, she hesitated. The house was enormous, with beautiful gardens stretching across the land. It was so different from her dad's house. This was it. She collected her purse and gifts, pulled up the hood of her raincoat, and stepped out into the rain. It figured that it would be pouring. The wind blew her hood back and soaked her face before she could fix it. Noel climbed the 2 brick steps, passed between the tall columns, and knocked on the solid wood door. Sophia, please answer the door. I can't, Mom. I just did my nails. Come on, Sophia. I'll be there in a minute. Sophia smiled and grabbed her phone. Maggie opened the door. Yes? Can I help you? She paused when she saw Noel. Noelle pulled her hood back to reveal her face. Mom? With a joyful gasp, Maggie stepped forward and wrapped her arms around her. They clung to each other and began to cry, drenched from the rain, but completely unaware of it. Noel, I've missed you so much. I think about you all the time. I'm so sorry for leaving you with... It's okay, Mom. I've been okay. I thought about you too, but sometimes it's hard to remember everything. I only had one small, crumpled picture he must have missed. Come in. Come in. She laughed. We're both wet from the rain. She hugged her again. I'm afraid to let you go. It just doesn't feel real. Mom, She called yesterday. At first, I didn't know who it was. She asked for Carter, and then I called her back. So, you knew about this? Of course, Mom, and it's all ready to be shared. I should have guessed. You've been acting a bit strange today. Noel, oh my, you're beautiful and grown up, but you still look the same, so different from your sister. Sophia frowned. Mom, but you are Noel, even if it looks like someone splashed a bucket of water on you. Shouldn't you invite our guest in, have her sit down and offer her something to drink? Maggie smiled. You'll have to forgive your sister. She can be a bit rude, excuse my language. Noel laughed, but then got caught up in another hug, this time from Sophia. A sister, I can't believe it. So I guess Mom might have lost some of her social skills. Please, Noel, sit there. It's usually Dad's special chair. So special that no one else can use it, but he had to check on some patients at the hospital. Mom, Noel worked all night on Christmas Eve and all day yesterday. That's crazy. I mean, Dad does it sometimes, but he's not exactly, well, normal. Noel chuckled. Well, I kinda got used to working hard and managing my time when I was younger. She looked down. You know, with school and, well, there were 3 boys and Dad, and I had to help with all the cooking and cleaning since I was pretty young. When she saw Maggie gasp, she looked up. No, Mom, it's okay. I was fine, really. It was just life. Wow, that sounds tough. Sophia? Sorry, Mom. Well, as beautiful as you are, I know you've had a lot of dates. I need some advice from my older sister about this guy I like, so we'll have to talk later, she said, glancing at her mom and whispering, in private. Noel blushed, tears in her eyes, and looked down. In a soft voice, she replied, Actually, Sophia, I've never been on a date. What? That can't be true? Actually, I didn't realize it until my senior year, but it seems my brother scared off every boy who wanted to ask me out, so no one did. They even confronted the one boy I liked in 9th grade. And then, when I finally asked him out in senior year, something happened to his family's bakery. So, I'm the one with questions. She heard a groan of pain from Maggie, who grabbed her face and rushed to the bedroom. Mom? Sophia started to stand, but Noel gestured for her to stay. Let me go. Please. Sophia nodded. Noel walked to the bedroom, closed the door, and approached the bed, putting her arm around her mom. Mom? Oh, Noel, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left you with them, but I had to. I had to get away. You were younger, and your dad had made things hard for the boys. He wouldn't let me just take you, which sounds harsh. But they were really difficult, and I couldn't manage all 4 of you. Plus, I didn't have a job, and... It's okay, Mom. It's all in the past. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm in nursing school. I work as a helper. I have my own apartment. And there's this couple, actually the parents of the boy I still care about, who have become like my family. It sounds strange, I know. We'll talk more about it later when I share some dating advice with Sophia. She chuckled softly. So, now everything is great. But it must have been so hard. Yeah, looking back it probably was, but at the time it just felt like life. That was just how things were since I was little. I never thought about it much. The only tough times were the nights when drinking happened. I was scared after I turned 12 because the boys started acting a bit too friendly. No, don't worry. Nothing happened. I just went to my safe place. She looked at her mom and shrugged, laughing a bit. I had locks and a board at the bottom. I even put a bell on the door just in case. It rang a lot, but no one ever got in. If they did, I had pepper spray and a bat, and if things got really bad, I had an escape ladder and a survival kit ready to grab. But nothing ever happened, and I was fine. She patted her mom's hand. It was okay, Mom. You did what was right. No guilt, all right? I don't want that to come between us. So please, try not to think about it. The only hard part was not having friends or dates. Everyone stayed away. They were polite but kept their distance. And the boy I still care about doesn't like me. She chuckled. But it could have been fine. The boys always said they would pick the right guy for me to marry. She laughed again. I almost disliked the fact that I never got to meet the guy they would have chosen for me. She laughed harder. I can only imagine. Her mom looked at her, amazed at how well she adapted to her situation and still managed to laugh. What a wonderful laugh it was. Come on, Mom. Let's go back out. I think Sophia is really worried. Sophia jumped up. Are you okay, Mom? Sure, just caught me off guard a little. I'm fine now. What about your dad and brothers? Sophia, you have 3 brothers too. I know I haven't talked much about them, but maybe you can meet them if you want. It'll take a while. Long story short, after my brother stood up for me against the boy I liked in 9th grade, he changed into quite the strong guy. The word was he went through tough training and became really fit. I don't know the details, but he got big and was always running around. He even swam in the lake most of the winter. Pretty wild. I decided to be brave and asked the boy I still liked to dance at the senior graduation dance. Well, it turned out the boys had caused trouble for his date and she canceled. So neither of us had dates. He was really upset and didn't act like I thought he would. I went home crying. Not my proudest moment, for sure. Oh, Noel, that sounds awful. Yeah, the boys thought it was terrible too, so they took action and messed with his family's bakery. Fortunately, it wasn't too badly damaged. 2 nights later, someone set fire to my dad's car lot. It ruined a lot of cars, and nobody found out who did it. But I have a strong feeling it was Jonah. The boys took a friend along and decided to teach Jonah a lesson. They were kind of foolish, though, because they recorded their actions and showed it to my dad. They admitted to what they did, and then Jonah got really angry. He ended up hurting all of them and called the police, showing them the video. Now all 3 of them are in jail. I haven't seen my dad since graduation. It's not the love story I wish I had. Pausing to breathe, I continued. I was supposed to go to nursing school in Washington, which is far away, but I felt I needed to take responsibility since all of this happened because of me. So I switched to nursing school at the local community college, got a job as a nursing aide, and convinced the Baxters to let me help fix the bakery. I send one of my paychecks to them every month and help out at the shop. I've become quite a good baker, and they have turned into a sort of family to me. That's wonderful, Noel. What about Jonah? I'm sure he still dislikes me. He's training for wilderness rescue and EMT in the mountains of Colorado. To complicate things further, he doesn't know anything about me or his parents. I spent Thanksgiving with them since he wasn't home. I helped with the cooking. It was such an amazing experience, so different from the store-bought dinner my dad always got. He would serve it buffet style so they could watch the games, and I ended up cleaning everything afterward. Wow, Noel, how do you stay so positive? Sophia's mom glanced at her, making her pause. It happened, and it's behind me now. I try to live by the saying, enjoy today so much that yesterday feels jealous. Jonah came home for Christmas, so I stepped back. But Mrs. B surprised me with a bed and other gifts on Christmas Eve. I couldn't believe it. Sophia listened intently, tears filling her eyes. She rushed over to hug Noel. Noel, that is such a sad story. I would be so upset all the time. How do you keep smiling? I'm not sure, Sophia. I think I just try not to dwell on it. It is what it is. Kind of like how a dog just enjoys life, you know? Something interesting happens with dogs. They just seem to move on no matter what. She laughed, adding, so I guess that makes me a bit tough. But Mom, I have a Christmas gift for you. It's not big, but I made it. Here, Sophia, here's one for you too. I'm sorry, Mom, but I didn't know if you were married or not. Well, I don't have a gift for your husband. Mom, I can't remember his name, but is it Spencer now? No, it's John. My last name is Spencer, that's right. Noel handed them boxes. They opened them to reveal scarves. Noel, this is lovely. Wait, you made these? The patterns are different. Sophia, these are really hard to make and take a long time. Thank you, Noel. I'm sorry I don't have anything for you. Someone didn't tell me you were coming. Wow, Noel, you're making me look bad. With school, work, baking, and knitting, how do you find time for all of this? In a playful fatherly tone, she said, well, my dear, if you'd focus less on boys and your phone, you'd be surprised at what you could do. They all laughed and hugged. You've actually met my dad, right? More laughter followed. Show us some pictures of your apartment. I bet it's beautiful. Noel glanced at Sophia, then looked down. I don't have any. To be honest, quoting Mrs. B, it's pretty rough. But it's what I could afford, and it's mine. That's what counts. Until the 24th, I just had a foam pad, a chair, a little table, a lamp, some plants, and my goldfish Herbie. She got me a bed, a dresser, and a lot more. No one has ever done something like that for me. Mom, I think we should support her more. No, really, I'm okay. I don't need anything. That's not why I came. But Mom, seeing you happy really makes me joyful. You don't know how much I've wished for your happiness, even if I'm a little complicated." More laughter filled the room. "I take back what I said. Mom, you should definitely keep her. Can I ask one thing? You don't have to answer, but Sophia is 15. I was 5 when you left, and I'm now 18. I don't quite understand." "Wow, Mom. Noel, our mom isn't great at math. She couldn't help me with algebra or geometry. What she means is that you had 5 kids instead of 4, and you took me with you instead of Noel." "No, she began, then stopped. "What my somewhat quiet mom is trying to say is that I went with my dad. We were a package deal, and then she adopted me. So we're not related by blood, but you're still my sister, right?" "For sure. Forever." "Great. But honestly, I would have picked me too because I'm so adorable." She blinked cutely and tilted her head. Her mom playfully swatted her. "Okay, enough about that. Your home is amazing. I've never been in a place like this. And your yard? It's my dream yard. I always tried to help around Dad's place, but I didn't have any money, and the boys often broke things without meaning to. It was just their nature. So I eventually stopped trying, but I always kept plants in my room." "Mom, it's getting worse. We need to do something. We should take her shopping. I bet she has hardly any clothes for that dresser." "Hold on. Let me make something clear. I didn't come here to make anyone feel guilty. This is not a pity party for Noel. My life is not like that at all. I really enjoy school and have a lot of friends there. I love my job and the people I work with. Helping out with the Baxters is also something I enjoy. I'm okay. I focus on what I have rather than what I don't. I wear scrubs at work and I own a few pairs of pants and some tops. I even have a nice dress for interviews, pajamas, and some belts from thrift stores. It's not like I'm going out much. My apartment, my car, and my phone expenses keep me busy. That's why I've started knitting, and that's perfectly fine with me. Compared to last year at home, it feels like a dream. Much better." Maggie could see Noel was starting to feel a bit uneasy. "No, Soph, let's take things slow. It seems Noel has everything under control and is happy the way things are. And she should be. I'm so proud of you, dear. You've done so much and you're such a wonderful young woman." She got emotional. "I wish I could take credit, but you've accomplished this all by yourself. Congratulations. You should be proud too." "I am, most of the time. But you both have shared so much about me. What about you? When did you get married? How did you meet? What do you teach? I have a lot of questions." "In that case, you have to stay the night. How long can you stay?" "I work tomorrow night, so I need to leave in the afternoon. It's about a 4-hour drive. You should take a day off or something." "Sorry, Soph, I'd love to, but I can't. Someone has to be there. If I call in, it means someone else has to cover for me, and that's not fair to them. But I'd really like to come back if that's all right." "Of course, and we'd love to visit too. I want to meet Mrs. Baxter." Just then, the garage door opened, and a tall man with some gray hair walked in, dressed well. Maggie jumped up to greet him with a hug. Noel stood as he looked her way. "Oh, hi, I don't think we've met. Are you a friend of Sophia's?" "No, John. I'm Sophia's sister, Noel." He turned to his wife, and she nodded. John then reached out his hand for a handshake. Then he hugged her tightly. "Well, it's great to meet you, Noel. I've heard a lot about you, but I imagined you to be much smaller," he chuckled. "But you're lovely, just like your mom. And you have her eyes. I'm not sure what happened to that one over there." "Dad! I'm taking back your Christmas present." He pinched her cheek playfully and hugged her again. "Oh, sweetums, I was just joking. You're the best daughter any dad could ask for," he said, pretending to gag. "I'm about to throw up too, Pops. Better get out while you can, Noel." "Come on, Noel. Help me out in the kitchen to get things ready. Sophia, why don't you join us and maybe learn a few things?" "I'll help, but that's why we have takeout." "Noel, do you think we can make some homemade bread?" Noelle checked her phone for the time. "As long as we skip letting it rise a couple of times and get that part over with. Oh, and if you have some oatmeal and chocolate, I can whip up some cookies real quick." "Noel, we talked about this. You're making me look bad. Soon you'll be telling me you volunteered at the shelter and helped with toy drives." "Well, actually, before school and work, I did help with meals and the toy drive." "You're unbelievable. Send her home, Mom." In a stern voice, she said, "Well, young lady, if you—" With a laugh, she interrupted, Don't even start." And they kept joking like that. She drove straight to work and changed into her scrubs that she always kept in her car for emergencies. As she unpacked, she found an envelope with a letter and a check for $1,000. My dear Noel, I loved you the moment I knew I was pregnant and missed you every day since I left. Thank you for taking the time to find me. I had given up hope of ever seeing you, and then there you were, standing in the rain on my porch. I'm so proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself too. You have become an amazing woman all on your own. I don't know how you did it, but you did. Remember, you are part of our family. We all love you, and the Baxters love you too, so you have two families. You've done so much by yourself, but you don't have to do everything alone. You have a huge support team. Us, the Baxters, your friends, classmates, and colleagues. Let people help you. You are never alone. I love you more than I can express. Mom, cash the check. You need at least 2 new tires, insurance, your inspection sticker is overdue, and your car sounds terrible. Don't forget to get some groceries, too. If you need more, call. Please. If things had been different, if I could have taken you with me, I would have been paying for everything, including your college. She cashed the check, and the money was gone. Mom was right. 18 months later, Noel had finished her nursing degree, and it was time for graduation. The Baxters were excited, but Jonah was home for a few days before starting his summer training. "Where are you two going all dressed up?" he asked. "I'm sorry, Jonah. Didn't I mention it? We have to go to a memorial service. There's a ceremony at the church, then a trip to the cemetery, and later a little gathering. They're making quite a big deal out of it." "Why? Who passed away?" "Oh, just someone important your father knows. It's more of a formal thing, but I tend to get emotional, so I'll probably cry. See you later. I left some food in the fridge for you." Jonah looked at his mom again. Those didn't seem like clothes for a memorial. Why all the secrets? The Baxters drove to the college and sat in the front row. It was a small ceremony for the nursing students. Maria turned to Henry. "Look at Noel. She's glowing. I'm so proud of her. Remember, she said she was getting an award for being second in her class? She could never quite beat that one girl with a perfect memory. What was her name? Oh, right, Emily. But they've been such good friends. A friendly competition that helped them both improve. It's wonderful." A woman tapped Maria's arm. "Excuse me, sorry to interrupt, but do you know Noel?" "Yes, we do. She's like a daughter to us. We love her and are so proud of her." Maria was suddenly in a warm embrace. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Maggie, her mom. I've heard a lot about you and Henry. Thank you for encouraging her to call me and for taking such good care of her. You've been more like a mom to her than I've been. This is my husband John and Noel's sister Sophia. Can we all go out together sometime? I'd love to get to know both of you." "Of course. We were planning to take her out, but since you're in town, it makes sense for you to take her. We see her often." "No way! We should all go together." Jonah was heading out to get some drinks when he noticed his parents' car with a woman in the back seat. "Wait a minute! That looked like Noel. Why is she in my parents' car? None of this makes sense." His parents didn't come home until 9, which was late for them. "Wow, you two are sure out late. Isn't it past your bedtime? I thought you wouldn't be gone long." "Smart Alec. We stay up until at least 10. We ran into some friends at the gathering and went out to eat. I'm sorry we left you alone all evening, but sometimes things just happen. I saw your car when I went to the store. There was a young woman with dark hair in the back seat." His parents paused. She looked familiar. "Maybe you've met her before. There wasn't enough space in her mom's car because of the family, so she rode with us to the restaurant. She's really nice. If you were staying longer, we would introduce you. I think you two would get along. She just finished her nursing degree and will start working at the hospital once she passes her exam. She was second in her class, so she should do well. You seem to know quite a lot about her." "Well, you know how parents can be. We heard all about her at dinner. So what did you do while we were gone?" He thought back to the photograph that had suddenly gone missing and the scarves. It just didn't feel right. But how could they be connected to Noel? It didn't make sense at all. The state exam wasn't available for a month after graduation, and then you had to wait for the results. Noel studied hard, determined to do well, while also working full-time as an aide at the hospital in the ortho spine unit. The exam was monitored on a computer. If you did well, it didn't take long. If you struggled, they added more questions. She felt confident, but then she saw Emily leaving the room. Their eyes met, and Noel stuck her tongue out at her. Emily laughed and mouthed, "Very mature." Noel loved the ortho unit, and when she got the news that she passed her exam, she started working full-time as a nurse. This was her place. She felt alive, happy, and did really well. Being new, she often got called to help out in other units, but instead of complaining, she saw it as a chance to learn. Every unit was so different: ICU, cardiology, oncology, pediatrics. She enjoyed them all, but ortho felt like home. Right away, she signed up at the local college to earn her bachelor's degree in nursing. The program was mostly online and meant for people already working. It was more work for her, but she kept helping out the Baxters at the store and gave Mrs. B some of her paychecks. What she didn't know was that all the money went into a special Noel account. It wasn't spent. Even though she was busy, there was an emptiness in her heart. She tried to push it away, but it grew stronger. Maria showed her pictures of Jonah doing fun things: camping, rock climbing, skiing. She noticed the same girl in many of the pictures. The emptiness felt bigger. "That girl is in a lot of the photos, huh, Noel? He hasn't said much, but I think they're getting closer. Are you okay?" "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I knew I'd never be that girl, and I just want him to be happy. And well, I think I'd better go." Maria hugged her. "Noel, I'm really sorry. It's okay, really." It wasn't okay. It troubled her every night. In fact, it was all she could think about when she had the chance. A year later, 3 years after high school, Jonah's spring semester had ended, and he had a couple of weeks off with his girlfriend. Zoe was amazing, just what he wanted and needed. She was in his classes, and they were both EMTs now ready for their advanced training. They had started as friends, but their friendship had grown into something deeper. They'd been living together for most of their 3rd year. When he told his mother about Zoe, he believed she was the one. Maria didn't mention that to Noel. Jonah was sure of it. He was surprised that when he shared his excitement with his mom, she didn't seem as thrilled. I guess they were just getting older. But today was special, his big day. Once they reached the top of the mountain where they could see in all directions, that would be the moment. He had a nice speech all planned. This was going to be great. "Ready, Zoe? If we get up there by noon, we can come back before dark. The weather is perfect, not too windy, and we only have to climb to 10,000 feet, not 12,000 like some of the other mountains we've done. Fun and good practice for this summer." "Oh, stop and don't make this a big deal. It's just a regular day and a great hike. Let's go." He never quite understood her calm attitude. They were outside. The sun was shining. It was spring. Oh well. Remember what I always say? "Yes, Jonah, I do. Make today so special that yesterday is jealous." Or something like that. "But it will be great. Hurry up, slowpoke. We don't have all day." She loved to challenge herself. The faster they got to the top, the better, but he could usually keep up with her easily. Unless he got sidetracked. Often, instead of racing to the finish, he thought, "I enjoy the journey just as much as the destination." What kind of thinking was that? "Look, Zoe, there's that grove of twisted aspens. Let's stop and explore a bit. We always rush past. Those trees have had a tough time growing here at the bottom of that slope. They look like they've been through a lot. Check out how bent this one is." No stopping, Jonah. We have to reach the top, and remember, it may be June, but there's still some snow up there. It'll take longer with snowshoes, so let's go. Jonah wasn't ever in a hurry. Take time to appreciate the little things. She sometimes thought he was a bit like a wandering child, but she loved him. She had never felt this way about anyone else. "Come on, Jonah, no dawdling today. Let's keep going." He felt the same way. They were different, but she was beautiful, smart, and confident. He couldn't imagine spending his life with anyone but her. Their one big difference was about having kids. He wanted a big family. She wasn't sure if she wanted any kids. "I don't want to be tied down with lots of little ones, not until I'm older, and by then it might be too late." But they could talk about it later, right? Once they were married and their friends started having babies. Besides, they were only 21, so there was no rush. She would probably change her mind. He still worked out every day, except for swimming, and practiced his moves. Some days, like today, he took it easy. They had a long hike ahead and then a celebration planned. And he would need his energy for a special night. Maybe they could share a moment on top of the mountain. That would be wonderful. What a memory it would make. Even though it would be snowy, she thought, how did he propose to you anyway? But something was off. He usually paid close attention to his body, and today didn't feel right. He had felt sick a few weeks ago, but was fine since. Today, though? Maybe he was just tired, but his feet felt strange, and his legs didn't feel strong. It was like he had worked out too hard. They climbed 4,000 feet, going from 6,000 at the base to 10,000 at the top. Not a problem. They moved through the aspen trees, then the spruce and fir, until they reached the rocky summit. But he found himself breathing hard as they arrived. "What's going on with you, Jonah? You never get out of breath on a climb like that. I'm usually the one lagging behind. Are you getting old? Sneaking junk food when I'm not around? No, I guess it's because of the way I wore you out last night. You know what the football players say? No distractions before a big game, it makes you weak. I think I'm the one who wore you out. You're not remembering it right." "Sure. Whatever helps you sleep at night, Mr. Strong Guy. But you're sweating. What's up?" "Nothing. I'm fine. It doesn't matter. Just look at the view. It's like seeing a whole universe of mountains around us." "Yeah, it's amazing." Jonah got down on one knee and pulled out a small box. "And Zoe, as we look out at this universe," she turned and saw what he was doing. She froze, covering her mouth with her hands. "As we think about the future, there's only one person I want to share my life with. Zoe, will you marry me?" Without thinking, she exclaimed, "Yes! Yes!" She lunged forward and they both fell into the soft snow. "Oh, Jonah, I love you so much. It took you long enough. I was just about to ask you, put on that ring and let's celebrate. Right here, right now. But you're going to be the one leading, okay?" She kissed him passionately and admired the ring. "It's beautiful." She sighed, feeling overjoyed. "Thank you. Oh, Jonah, this is wonderful. We are going to do so many amazing things together, travel to so many places, and create beautiful memories. What are you doing?" "I stand here with my pants off, ready to jump in, and you're just messing around." "Zoe, I don't know what's going on, but my feet are tingly, and my legs and hands feel strange." He tried to get up. "Maybe it's the height, or maybe it's a problem I had before. You know how I never miss a chance." "I know how you are," she replied with a teasing smile. "But I think I need to go down." "Of course, let's go. Is it hurting?" "A little in my back, but mostly just weak and numb." "It's downhill all the way, love. It won't take long, and then we'll get you checked out. You're walking a bit funny. Here, take this stick to help you." "No, wait, stop, lie down. I need to check on you. Wow, your heart is racing and you're breathing hard, but your lungs sound clear. No cough? No swelling in your arms or legs. Your pulse is steady. Can you feel this?" She rubbed his feet through his boots. He shook his head. "How about your hands? They just feel a bit numb." "Follow my finger with your eyes. Can you see okay? No double vision?" He shook his head in response. She gently poked his stomach, chest, and legs. "I don't know what's wrong. Might be something serious. We need to get you down. You look a bit off." She helped him up and they began to walk. She felt worried for Jonah. She wished they could just run down and get to the hospital, but walking was becoming hard for him. He had always been strong and steady, but now he seemed weak. "Here, let me carry your pack." "That's better. Thanks, Zoe," he said, but then he tripped and fell, scraping his hands on the rough ground. She quickly helped him back up and supported him as they continued. He kept losing his balance. After another hour, he looked more tired. "Zoe, it's strange. I'm awake and know what I want to do, but my legs feel heavy. I can't even feel my feet anymore. Just keep moving, one step at a time. Focus on lifting one foot and placing it down, then the other. We're almost halfway back. You're doing great. Next time, maybe I'll fall for someone smaller instead of a big guy like you. Remember the little engine that could—" He chuckled, though things were getting harder for him. He kept stumbling, with scrapes appearing on his hands and face. She felt more nervous as he seemed to get worse. Despite his best efforts, getting back on his feet was becoming tougher with each fall. He started lifting his leg with his thigh muscles, turning slightly and setting his foot down. Then he repeated it on the other side, one careful step at a time. He was moving slower, breathing harder, and was covered in sweat. He tried to get up again. "Zoe, I'm sorry, but I don't think I can get up. My legs are feeling weak." "Come on, we can't stop here. You can't give up. We only have about a mile left. I can't carry you, and there's nothing to help me move you. Please, let's keep going. He tried to stand, took a few steps, and fell again. I guess it's time to call for help. Good idea. They might be waiting around for something to do. You know Graham and Felix are on duty today, but there's still no cell signal. I can't get through. Oh, Jonah, what should I do? What do you need me to do? It's okay, Zoe. I'll be fine. Maybe you can leave the bags. Go down the hill and call from the parking lot. There's usually a signal there. I can just rest here and enjoy the view. You're not supposed to leave a patient alone, especially when they're getting worse. He smiled at her. Zoe, I'll be okay. It's probably just some weird after effect or something. Just be careful going down. If you get hurt, we'll both be in trouble. All right, that sounds like a plan. I'll be back quickly, I promise. Here, give me a kiss, Jonah. I love you. What a way to get engaged. What did you do when you said yes? Just stay put. He laughed. You're coming back, right? Seeing that he was joking, she kissed him again. You're impossible. If you didn't want to play around, you could have just said so. Oh, wait, that's my line. They exchanged smiles, but he could see the worry on her face. Zoe? Jonah, I have to go. What? What snacks did you bring? Sometimes, Jonah Baxter, why do I even love you? I could leave you here for the bears. Look, there's one now. I'll be right back. She started running down the hill. An hour later, when the rescue team arrived, he felt weaker all over. I don't know what's happening. I can't move well. Nothing hurts, just a bit in my back sometimes, and I feel a little short of breath even when I rest. They placed him on a stretcher, gave him oxygen, and connected him to a monitor. Zoe kissed him again. He looks worse, Graham. Much worse than an hour ago. We need to go now. Turning to Jonah, she said, Hang in there, Baxter. We're on our way. It might be a bumpy ride. Love you. And I love you. Just remember, if anything happens to me, you get everything. You don't have anything, silly. Oh, right. Well, it's the thought that matters. Great thought. Just remember, if you leave me, I'll be very angry with you. He chuckled. All right. Off we go. The emergency drill for a patient in trouble began. This was serious. They all cared about Jonah. After a careful checkup, including a CT scan of the head and spine, and a chest x-ray, they worked hard for 3 hours. Then a doctor came to Jonah's bedside. Hi, Dr. James. Good to see you. They called in neurology? That can't be good. Hello, Jonah, Zoe. We don't have the results yet. I have some ideas, but I need to do a lumbar puncture to collect some fluid and find out what's going on. Sorry, doctor. He smiled. It's all right, Jonah. You have insurance, right? Just kidding. We'll make sure you get the care you need. Just curl up and we'll get this done. But first, let's handle the paperwork. 2 hours later, Dr. James returned. Jonah, I think we have an answer. All your tests suggest you have Guillain-Barré syndrome. Jonah felt his shoulders drop, and he looked defeated. This is a rare condition where the body attacks the nerves. It can cause problems for a time. You're young and otherwise healthy, but the speed of this is concerning. We need to move you to intensive care to monitor your breathing and heart closely. Looking serious, Dr. James continued. I'm worried this is going to be a tough journey, but most people improve with time. It's still early, though. Any questions? No, Dr. James. I'm not looking forward to what's next, but I hope it's mild. Maybe. Jonah turned to Zoe, who looked very pale. You should sit down. You look worse than I do. But Jonah, why is this happening to you? You're so strong and healthy. Oh, Jonah, I love you so much. You have to get better. I should call your parents. They need to know. Zoe, take a few deep breaths. I'll be okay. People usually recover from this, even if I miss summer classes. But you need to go now. Don't just stay here. Please don't call my parents yet. Let's wait and see how I do. I love you. Everything will be okay, right? He smiled at her and she hugged him tightly, tears on her cheeks, her face still showing shock as they wheeled him to the intensive care unit. But Jonah's condition worsened. His muscle weakness spread to his chest, making it hard for him to breathe. His oxygen levels dropped and he was getting tired from trying to breathe. The strain was clear on his face. It's time, Jonah. He nodded. I think you're right, Dr. James. I'm struggling to breathe. Zoe, I love you. See you what Dr. James asked. How many days will this take? I'm hoping for a few days, but we'll see. Remember, we will check on you every day. Can you call my mom for me? Of course. Zoe stepped out as the nurses closed the doors and pulled the curtains. The medical team began to help him breathe since his muscles were too weak. Zoe was crying, feeling scared. It wasn't just about the phone call. She worried about their future. She relied on his strength and happiness. What if he didn't get better? What if he changed? Most people improve, but a few don't. What if they couldn't do the hiking and traveling they had planned? She told herself to be brave. Maybe Maggie could help her through this. She needed someone to lean on. Taking a deep breath, Zoe called the number. "Hello, Mrs. Baxter. This is Zoe Daniels. I'm Jonah's fiancé." "Fiancé? I didn't even know he was engaged. Is he there? Can I talk to him?" Zoe was taken aback by the lack of excitement in her voice. "That's why I'm calling. Congratulations. That's wonderful. You're the girl in the photos, right?" "Yes, that's me. Have you set a wedding date yet?" Again, no excitement. Almost disappointment. "No, Mrs. Baxter, we haven't. He's very sick." She heard a gasp and sensed tears. Zoe started crying harder than before. She knew it felt wrong to feel this way. She was a professional, but this was Jonah, someone she deeply cared for. "Mrs. Baxter, Jonah asked me to marry him. I was so excited, but now he's so weak, and they had to put him on a ventilator because he can't breathe." "Oh my God, why didn't you call sooner? How long has he been ill?" "This is the 5th day since he got sick. At first he just had some stomach trouble, but then it got worse. Oh, Mrs. Baxter, I don't know what I'll do if something happens to him." Maggie switched to a comforting tone. "It's okay, Zoe. I know the doctors are taking good care of him. He's strong. He'll get through this. Just take some deep breaths. What's wrong with him?" "He has Guillain-Barré syndrome. Can you explain that?" "It's a condition where the body attacks the nerves, and it affects how things function." She started to weep again. "Mrs. Baxter, he didn't want me to call sooner. I'm sorry. He thought he would be okay, but he needs you. I need you. Can you come right away? You can stay with us, and I can pick you up from the airport. Please." Maggie pondered what Zoe had said. A lot more was happening than her son had told her. It made sense that they had been living together before getting engaged. But this girl was struggling. She seemed really upset. Noel would never act like that. "I will check the flights and take the next one. I will keep you updated. Thanks for looking after him. And congratulations. I'm happy for both of you." But she wasn't. Maybe it was just the worry of seeing someone she loved getting sick, but she called another number. "Noel, Jonah has something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. He's having trouble moving and they put him on a breathing machine." She heard a quick gasp, then a more calm voice. "Guillain-Barré syndrome? Yes, that's it. Tell me everything. I'm flying to Colorado as soon as I can find a flight." "I just had a patient with that condition when I was moved to the rehab unit. I know some about it. I need to ask you a few questions, and if you don't know, that's okay. Then we can talk more. The good news is that most people his age recover well, so take a deep breath and relax a little. Now, what do you know?" "Mrs. B, the main point is that he should be okay. There are 4 main factors that sometimes make recovery a bit longer. It doesn't mean he is in danger, so don't worry about that. But these factors might make getting better take some time. They are age, how quickly it started, needing a ventilator within a week, and a history of diarrhea. He has 3 of those. So what does that mean for Jonah, Noel? It means it might take him a while to recover. But he will get better, Mrs. B. He's strong and never gives up. It will just involve a lot of therapy. He's used to working out, so it should be manageable, and we can support him through it." Even though she knew it might take 6 months to a year, or more. Better not to say everything. Also, it's a tricky illness, so he might improve really quickly. "You said we, Noel." Maggie heard a sigh. "My mistake. I meant you and the girl in the pictures, along with all the therapists who will help him. I would probably just get in the way, but please keep me updated." The next afternoon, Maggie arrived in Colorado and looked around for Zoe. There she was. She looked taller than expected and seemed very nervous. "Zoe? Maggie?" She hugged her tightly. "I'm so glad you're here. It's so hard seeing him just lying there in bed, not moving. He's usually so strong and full of life, and now—" She leaned on Maggie and started to cry. There, Zoe. I spoke with Noel. I did a lot of reading, and patients his age usually recover well. Here's a tissue. Let's go to the carousel to find my bag, then we can head to the hospital. Does that sound good?" "Sure." Zoe held on to Maggie's arm. They found the bag and made their way to the hospital. Zoe cried a little during the drive, tapping her fingers nervously on the steering wheel. Maggie tried to keep talking to help ease Zoe's nerves. "Where did you meet? How long have you been together? How's school? When does class start again?" Nothing seemed to help. Maggie hoped Zoe was just anxious about meeting her future mother-in-law, but she wasn't sure. Zoe reminded her of a skittish horse, ready to run at any noise. Maggie thought of how confident and calm Noel had been when she came over after the fire, and how Maria had described their first meeting. She felt Jonah was making a poor choice, but there was nothing she could do. Her focus needed to be on getting her son better, and she needed to keep Zoe from getting overwhelmed. "Okay, Maggie, he's in there. Just be prepared. He has a lot of tubes and wires, and they are keeping him asleep while the breathing tube is in place. Well, they wake him up each morning to see if he can breathe by himself. He wasn't able to do that this morning." Ariel turned to hug Maggie again. "Thanks for being here, Maggie. I think this will help us both." Maggie stepped into the room, holding her breath. It wasn't as bad as she had imagined. "Oh, hi, you must be Mrs. Baxter, Jonah's mom." "Maggie." "Nice to meet you, Maggie. I'm Ariel, his nurse for the day. Everything looks great, no irregular heartbeats. The feeding tube is in the right place, and he's doing well. Your son looks very strong. Do you have any questions?" "Not really. I have a friend in medicine who helped me understand what to expect. We're basically in a waiting phase, right? Hopefully just a few more days on the breathing machine, then some signs of improvement, but we're not sure how long it will take." "Your friend is correct. Here, please wash your hands with that gel on the wall, and then you can touch him. We're keeping him asleep, but feel free to talk to him and touch him. Just be careful of the tubes and wires." She laughed, and Maggie smiled. Zoe looked like she might run out of the room. Before going to her son, Maggie turned and hugged Zoe. "It's going to be all right, Zoe. He's strong. We just need to be patient. It may take longer than we want, right, Ariel?" Ariel nodded. "Why don't I sit with him for a bit and you go out to relax? You look a bit tired." "Yeah, that sounds good. I'll be back in a few hours. Is that okay?" "Of course, Zoe. Whatever works for you. Take all the time you need. Grab a bite to eat, and maybe you can show me your apartment later." "Sure," she replied, hugging Maggie as tears threatened to fall. "That would be nice. Thanks for being here." She walked out. "Maggie, I don't know that girl very well, but I think she's struggling more than your son. She's so nervous and restless, it's overwhelming. She can't seem to relax. She works as an EMT, so she should be able to cope. But I guess everyone handles stress differently." "This is your son's 7th day in the ICU and his 2nd day using a ventilator, but she seems worse than before. Your son is actually doing okay, Maggie. His tests and everything look good. It's going to take some time for him to get better, maybe even a year, but he will improve. He'll need a lot of therapy, but I'm worried about her. She might need some help too. Can you be patient with her?" Maggie smiled. Someone else had said deal before. "Deal. If she's going to be my future daughter-in-law, so, Ariel, how long have you been doing this?" By the end of her 2nd day in Colorado, Maggie realized 2 things. First, Zoe was driving her crazy. She was so anxious that Maggie spent all her time looking after her and not enough time with her son. Second, this was not the right girl for Jonah. She could only see trouble ahead if he married her. Jonah would never want to leave her, but he might not find happiness either. Determined to act, she picked up her phone and called. "Noel? Hi, how are you?" "Great. I had the day off and helped Henry at the store. Mrs. Fernandez came in to buy a big chocolate cake for her son's party. Then I did some baking for tomorrow. How's Jonah? You sound stressed." "Noel, I need you to come here as soon as you can. Jonah is doing all right, but I really need you. We need family. We need your support. I hate to ask, but of course I told you before I'm here for you. I'll call work, take some time off, pack, and head out." "No, honey, you should fly. It's too far to drive." "I may need the car, though, especially if we're here for a while. Honestly, I could get there faster by driving than waiting for a flight." "Check the flight options first, okay? By the way, before you leave, stop by my house. In my left desk drawer, there's a debit card. Bring it for me, please. Be careful, Noel, and thank you." Her voice shook, and Noel could hear she was crying. "Thank you for always being there. I knew I could count on you. I love you." "Hang in there. I'll be there before you know it." A day and a half later, she walked into the ICU. It was 7 a.m. too early for Mrs. B to be there, and the nurses were busy in another room. Noel noticed the drawn curtains and the code card outside the door. She understood that meant someone was not well, and several nurses would be busy for a while. As she entered the room, she squirted some antiseptic foam on her hands and rubbed it in while taking in the scene. She heard the familiar sounds of medical machines. His vital signs looked good, with a steady heart rate and healthy oxygen levels, but his muscles were not functioning. The smell in the room was not good. She realized he needed a change. She noticed he was receiving nutrition through a thin tube in his nose, and she watched as the pump moved the nourishing fluid from the bag above. She adjusted the sheet. The situation was not pleasant. He was in a mess, and she couldn't leave him that way, so she decided to help him. She lowered the covers and looked closely. Her eyes caught a heart-shaped mark on his chest. Memories flooded back, and she felt tears welling up, but she focused on her task. She carefully rolled him onto his side. He was heavy, and usually it took two people. She had to move slowly to avoid tangling the tubes and wires. Some nurses called the setup malignant spaghetti, which made her chuckle as she remembered how frustrating it was when she first arrived in the ICU. Putting on gloves, she wiped him down, cleaned with a washcloth, and placed a new mattress pad underneath. She was relieved that he had not made a bigger mess. After drying him off, she managed to slide a new pad under him, then rolled him back onto his back. She tidied everything up, ensuring he was comfortable and clean before returning to her chart review. Picking up a stethoscope, she checked his heart, lungs, and abdomen. Everything seemed fine, but when she looked at the bedside chart, her brow furrowed. There had been no urine output for 8 hours, and the collection bag was empty. She peeked under the covers to check the catheter, which was in place and not leaking. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. "Who are you sneaking around in my space, making yourself at home?" The staff member noticed the dirty linens in the bag. "And who decided to tend to my patient?" "I'm sorry, I'm Noel. Mrs. Baxter asked me to come, and I noticed the code card during shift change." "Thank you. How did you manage it with this big fellow?" She smiled and wiped her forehead. "It was a challenge. I think I'm still sweating a bit." The three of them chuckled. "Well, I'm Ariel, and this is Cody. So what's your role here?" "I'm a family friend, I suppose. It's, complicated like in the movies." "I don't like complicated, Noel." "I get it, and I promise I won't make things difficult. I'm here because Mrs. Baxter sounded like she needed some help." Her eyes shifted to Jonah, and she blinked back tears. "So I came. You're not going to break down on me like that other girl, are you? What a mess." "Definitely not, Ariel. I promise I'll stay out of the way. Just one thing, though." Ariel gave her a sharp look. "I noticed that there hasn't been any urine output for about 8 hours and the bag is empty. His stomach feels quite firm, so unless you drained it and forgot to write it down, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have just barged in here." Ariel glanced at Cody. "Oh, Cody, we have a new player in town. Not quite old enough to be a doctor. A medical student? No, too humble for that. And I can tell you haven't done any, messy tasks. You must be a nurse. My biggest fear. What do you think, Cody?" He nodded. Noel laughed. "Nurse, yes. Fear, I hope not. I'll keep to myself and focus on Mrs. Baxter. I still haven't met Zoe. You're in for a treat. If you can help that poor girl, I'll be grateful forever. You're right. He needs some attention. Lazy Bones over here got caught helping with someone else and handed it off to me." Almost in sync, Noel and Ariel said, "Always pass it to the day shift." They both laughed while Cody shook his head and rolled his eyes. Ariel gently touched Noel's arm. "It's good to have you here, but you look a bit rough and could use some freshening up." "I just drove from North Carolina. I only got a couple of quick naps in the car. Is there somewhere I can clean up a bit before the others arrive?" "I've got just the place. There's a nurse's locker room in the basement." Together they said, "Of course," and laughed. "Wow, I might have to rethink my opinion of Southerners. Maggie seems nice too. Here's my badge to get into the locker room. There's a shower and," she whispered, "some scrubs you can wear. And make sure you grab some breakfast and a big cup of coffee. Oh, and bring me one too." She winked. "You'll need it. Just saying. See you in a bit. The dynamic duo should be here around 9. "Thanks. So, Cody, it looks like you haven't harmed any of my patients, which is great. Any big plans for today?" At 9, Noel sat in the waiting room sipping her second cup of coffee. It wasn't bad, just the kind she was used to. She was working on her course materials. Never waste a moment, she reminded herself with a smile, her inner voice keeping her focused. Make today so wonderful that yesterday is jealous. That was her motto. It might be tough, but she was determined to try, just like every day. Noel, I'm so glad you made it. How was your trip? They hugged each other tightly, both feeling emotional as the joy of being together was overshadowed by the seriousness of their situation. I drove, Mrs. B. It would have taken days to fly. Really? But that's over 1,800 miles. How did you do that in about 30 hours? Were you speeding? Not by much, maybe just a little over. I figured out a way to make it work and, a long way to go in a short time or something like that. Hi, you must be Zoe. I'm Noel. She shook Noel's hand. Nice to meet you. Wait, you're not the Noel, are you? Surprise and anger flashed in her eyes. What are you doing here? Haven't you done enough? Why would you come now when he's so unwell? Before Noel could speak, Maggie said, Because I need her here. I asked her to come. Zoe turned her furious gaze to Maggie. Why? You know how he feels about her? He talks about her all the time. Maggie stood firm. Because she's part of my family and I need her support. That's just wrong, she shot back, looking at Noel. You'd better not hurt him again. Tears filled Noel's eyes, but she held her head high. I would never hurt him. I'll be keeping an eye on you. Come on, Maggie, let's check on him. As they left, Maggie touched Noel's arm, shrugged, and mouthed, Thanks for coming. We'll talk later. Hey, I met your friend. She seems nice. Made sure I was following all the rules, Noel said with a light laugh, but saw that Zoe did not look pleased. Oh, this is complicated. It's great to have her here. She's very sharp and graduated near the top of her nursing class. Just missed being first by a tiny bit. That really upset her. She's out there getting her BSN now. Wow, you really like to brag about her, don't you? Well, Jonah is doing okay. We're letting him wake up a bit from the ventilator. It's something we do every day. I hope he can start using his muscles more and breathe on his own. He's awake now, so you can talk to him, but remember, he can't talk back. Maggie gently encouraged Zoe to move closer. Hi, big guy. She bent down and kissed his cheek, stroking his face as tears fell onto it. They say you're doing great. Soon you'll be breathing on your own, and then we'll help you get better. She started to tremble and let go of his hand, adding softly, I love you, Jonah. Please get better for me, for us. Oh, I need to go. Maggie took her turn beside him. Good morning, Jonah. Do you need anything? She noticed him shake his head slightly. Oh, Jonah, you moved your head. You really did. Ariel, did you see that? Yes. It looks like we're making some progress. Your dad wanted to come, but we couldn't just close the shop. The challenges of running your own business. I talked to him last night and filled him in on everything. He misses you and hopes you're doing well. He asked me to tell you he loves you. Once you're feeling a bit better, maybe we can have a video call. I think it's called FaceTime. Maggie, if you want, Noel can come in. Jonah's eyes flew open and he gave his mother an upset look, shaking his head. This movement made his breathing tube shift, causing him to cough. His initial surprise quickly turned to frustration. Take it easy, Jonah. I'll explain everything once your tube is out. He tried to ask why with his lips, shaking his head again. His coughing triggered alarms. I should go, Ariel. I love you, Jonah. We'll talk soon. I'm sorry, Ariel. Let me guess. It's complicated. She nodded. Well, Jonah, it seems that little bit of excitement has tired you out, and you need to rest again. We can't let you get too worn out. You need time to recover. But congratulations, you're getting better. Good night, she said as she pushed the medication into his IV. He resisted, anger still in his eyes, but eventually he closed them and relaxed. Noel saw Zoe run out of the ICU crying and hurry to the waiting room. She jumped up. Zoe, are you okay? Is something wrong? Zoe turned sharply toward Noel. What are you doing here? Why did you come? After everything you did to him? How could you? He is a kind, wonderful man and you hurt him repeatedly. How could you do that? Noel started to respond but thought it best to let her express her feelings. She had already taken the blame in the past. She put on her neutral expression and stance she had learned to use. It often helped her avoid more conflict. He loves me, you know. If you think you can come here and take him from me, you won't succeed. We're engaged. See the ring he gave me? You're engaged? The words pierced Zoe's heart like a sharp object, much deeper than any hurt she had experienced before. Don't act like you didn't know. I don't know what your plan is, but it won't work. He'll get better and we'll get married and travel and have adventures, just like we've talked about. Her anger faded as she started to tremble, her lips shaking. But first, he has to get better. Oh God, what if he doesn't recover? He looks so terrible. He couldn't move or do anything. He was always so strong, so sure of himself, my support. She felt overwhelmed. Her shoulders drooped, and she seemed to fold in on herself. With her hands on her face, she began to cry, unable to say anything more. Noel came closer and wrapped his arms around her. Zoe tried to pull away but felt trapped. She struck his arms lightly with her fists. How could you hurt him? How could you do something cruel to such a good person? Why did this happen to us? To me, everything was going so well. And now... Her fists stopped, and the tears flowed more intensely. It's okay, Zoe. He'll be all right. You're right. He is strong, healthy, and determined. He will get through this. You just need to hold on. Just for now, and then you'll have your future together. Be strong for him. He needs your strength. She saw Maggie and motioned for her to stay where she was. Maggie is here to support both of you, and she'll help you find the strength to get through this. I'm just here to assist Maggie if she needs me, nothing more. Suddenly, Zoe pushed back and stared ahead, wide-eyed and shocked. But what if he doesn't get better? What if it takes a year? What if it takes even longer? What if he can't walk? What if he feels weak? What if he can't enjoy our activities? What will happen with school? I need to return to school in a couple of days. I will be finished with my classes, and he will still have another year. She looked worried and panicked. Zoe, it will all work out. You can go to school or take a break. There are many options. The people here will take great care of him, and then he will go to therapy for a while. The experts will handle everything. You just have to love him. That will be what he needs. He'll be okay. Just give it some time. It's too soon to know how long it will take, but you can support him in getting better. You two can do this together, and it will make your love even stronger. No. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I am strong enough. He was the strong one, and now... She was trembling, her hands shaking, ready to run away. Zoe, take a breath. It's only been about a week. It's too early to tell how things will go. He might be better in just a few weeks. Yeah, or he could still feel weak for years. I just read about it again. Maybe he will never recover. Maybe we won't be able to enjoy the activities we love. But you will. You will be able to do all those things. Just give it a chance, Zoe. Let your love give you strength and hope. We'll all pray for him, and Maggie can help you. She waved Maggie over. Really? Focusing back on Noel, she asked, if she is going to help me, then why did she involve you? You. You better not do anything to hurt him. Zoe, I will stay out here and just assist Maggie. I will do whatever you want. I want you to leave. Go home, just not here. Sorry, Zoe, I can't do that. More false promises. Well, I have to go. I have a lot to think about. She turned and saw Maggie. Maggie, are you coming? If you stay, you'll need to get a cab or something. We can come back later after this one has gone back to her own space. Noel nodded to Maggie and silently urged her to go. I'm coming, dear. Just give me a moment. I need to grab my purse. Then she whispered, He's asleep. Go in and see him. Noel nodded. Oh, and here. She handed a debit card to Noel. Every penny you ever gave me is in this account. Take it. It's probably almost a year's worth of pay. And thank you so much for being here. Mrs. B, no. Please, Noel, let someone help you. Besides, it's the least I can do. You quit your job, rushed here, and you'll need somewhere to stay. I'm not sure Zoe will invite you to her place. They both laughed and hugged. Maggie, the bus is leaving now. I should go. Noel started to shake a little as all the gathered tension surged forward, but Maggie had helped her focus. She rolled the debit card between her fingers. She couldn't believe how much she had saved. The insurance only covered part of the expenses and the lost business, so this support meant a lot. She held the card close and felt grateful, but it didn't fill the emptiness she felt when she learned that Jonah was engaged. That news hurt like a flame burning through her. It reminded her of past pain that seemed to flow through her all over again. She wanted him to be happy, right? But Zoe? Of all the women, why her? Sure, she didn't know Zoe well, but Jonah needed someone strong and confident, someone who could handle tough times, not fall apart. Life has its challenges, and he needed a partner who could support him. Now, he would have to be strong for both himself and Zoe. His partner should be strong enough for both of them. Zoe seemed unsure of herself. She was all over the place, much like some of the nervous patients Noel had cared for before. It looked like she was really struggling with Jonah's situation and needed support too. Counseling might help her, and maybe some medication would help stabilize her. Perhaps she was already taking something, but Noel didn't want to suggest it. She chuckled to herself, thinking, "And I thought my brothers were wild." Noel sat down, closed her eyes, and took a few deep breaths to calm herself. A quick moment of meditation helped clear her mind and wash away the negativity she felt about Zoe. "Hey, you!" She opened her eyes. "Yeah, you. You should either be studying or come in here to help me out. Instead of sitting around like a princess, I have a lot to do. I don't have an assistant and everyone is busy. I have 3 patients and maybe a 4th coming, so I could really use some help. This guy is really big and my back isn't great." They exchanged smiles. "Since your back is hurting, I can help. But he's asleep, right?" Ariel gave her a thoughtful look and then nodded. "Welcome back to my place. So what kind of nurse are you?" "I'm mostly in ortho spine care. I've only been there about a year." "And you get sent all over when they need you. I've been here for 4 years and it still happens to me. Are you good with everyday care? You know, helping with washing, shaving, and checking his pressure? All that?" "Yep. I was a caregiver in high school and during nursing school too. My kind of person always ready to step in." "Yes, but I didn't have much choice. I was on my own and I had to pay back some family debts." "That's interesting. This guy has something unusual on his chest. It looks like a heart, but not too deep. What's wrong, Noel? You look like you've seen a ghost. Wait, don't tell me. Are you his ex?" She shook her head. "No, but I did something I didn't mean to. It was a long time ago. Now let's get to work and you can tell me more." As they cleaned him up, Noel began recounting the night when she was 15. Ariel laughed. "Wow, Noel, you were young and naive. At least you didn't hurt him badly." "It gets worse. I was so upset that my brothers went out and confronted him. When I saw him again, I felt terrible. There's more to the story, but that's when he started growing." "Well then, how about you finish up here, check everything, while I check on my other patient next door. Can you change his sheets too?" She nodded. "And then can you do some range of motion exercises for his joints? Top to bottom. I've done a bit, but with 3 patients, it can be tough. Is that okay?" "That's better than just waiting around. I'll get you lunch later. And don't forget to reposition him every hour, even if the new beds say it's not needed. Better safe than sorry, right? Got it?" She started at the top. She moved his neck gently without touching the tube. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, and each finger. She bent them all the way, then straightened completely, ensuring a full range of motion. Then she moved to his legs and stretched all the joints to keep them from getting stiff. She noticed he was already tight. He'll need this for a long time, she thought. Maybe for months or longer. She didn't want to think about that. It didn't matter. She was certain he wouldn't let her anywhere near him when he woke up. All right, let's eat lunch. It's on me. Now tell me the rest of the story. And don't give me that "it's complicated" stuff. They enjoyed lunch and kept talking into the afternoon. So you still care about this guy? His mom feels like a mom to you. He dislikes you, but he doesn't know you spend time with his mom, and now you're here to help him and his fiancée. Wow, Noel! No one could have imagined this. Maggie was right. It is complicated. First off, why aren't you all mixed up like that other girl? Man, she's a mess. She makes me anxious just being around her. I don't like that feeling. Me too. I often feel like telling her to calm down, but she dislikes me as well, so I'd probably just make things worse. But what are you going to do when he wakes up? Noel laughed. I really have no idea. I know this is a strange thing to hope for, but I wish I could be here when they take that tube out, and he talks to his mom for the first time. Wow, like a scene from a movie. 2 days later, Noel arrived early to help with Jonah's care. I think today is the day the doctor is going to take him off the machine, Noel, but he still can't cough well, so we have to clear his throat often, meaning he'll need a tracheostomy. Better safe than sorry. We don't want pneumonia. I'm waking him up now so the ENT doctor can speak to him before doing it. Maybe you can go out and talk to his mom and Zoe about what's happening, and I'll come out when we're finished. Sound good? She saluted playfully. Sure, I'm on it, Captain. Get going, you wise guy. Maggie, Zoe, you're all set. You can come back now, and guess what? He can talk to you. As they entered, Jonah turned his eyes toward the door and slowly shifted his head in that direction. Hello, beautiful. Sorry I messed up our celebration. This isn't what I had planned at all. Oh, Jonah, you can talk. I've been so scared and worried. I care about you so much. Please get better, and the sooner the better. I'm trying, but it depends on my nerves. I've been dreaming about holding you. Are you thinking about me in a special way, Baxter? Why, yes, I am, miss. Is that wrong? No, it's lovely. Zoe leaned forward and hugged him, but it wasn't with her usual warmth or enthusiasm. She was unsure. It's okay, Zoe. I'm not fragile and I don't have anything contagious. I know. It's just that, well, it doesn't matter. Your mom has been amazing. She's been supporting me in so many ways. Oh, it's just so nice to hear you talk. It's been 8 days. 8 long days. Have you tried moving your hands or feet at all? Maggie watched them interact. It was clear her son was deeply attached, but each day Zoe seemed to pull back a little. Not good, but maybe it was. There was no way she could imagine her son being with this girl for a long time, and she didn't want him to have any kids. Jonah always said he wanted 3 or 4. What was he thinking? It was a common mistake people made. They thought after getting married, their partner would change. They expected the annoying habits, the messiness, the partying, and constant hanging out with friends to go away. They never did. In fact, it often got worse after marriage. She knew her son would never ask for a divorce. He would stick with a bad marriage no matter what. It was foolish. But she would make his life difficult until he found a way out. She believed he would leave someday. She had seen it happen before. If only he could give Noel a real chance. Now there was a girl who could brighten his life. She was anxious about the upcoming talk. She hoped she could explain herself and help him see her point of view. It wasn't going to be easy. Patience. Just let it flow like Noel. Yes, all the time, but no luck yet. I will get there. Zoe, are you going back to school? I don't know. Look at me. You need to go. I could be busy for a long time. A long time? No way. Don't say that. She began to cry. Zoe, I'm not planning it, but I haven't had any luck yet. But it hurts every time I see you like this. I need your strength and your support. I will still be strong for you. As for the support part, you'll need to manage that. Just like you being in charge, he said with a teasing look. Oh, Jonah, my poor dear Jonah. She kissed him gently and gave him a brief hug. Are you really sure about school? Absolutely. It doesn't make sense for you to just be here all day. You'll do exciting things and share them with me, making me feel involved. But I might be away for days sometimes. That's all right. I'll just be here watching shows or listening to audiobooks. I'll be pretty boring company anyway. I can't use my tablet or anything. Maybe I can find some cool tools like Stephen Hawking had. Please do it for me. If you're really sure. I'm sure. Now one more kiss, then let me talk to my mom. Alone. Maggie took a deep breath. Hi, Jonah. It's nice to hear your voice again. Anger was clear in his tone. Enough with the small talk, Mom. What is going on? Why did you invite Noel here after everything that's happened? Why? It's a long story. Maybe you should rest a bit and we can talk later. Ariel stood nearby, keeping the doors open so she could listen. Nice try, Maggie, but it won't work. Mom. Okay, it began the day you left for school. 3 years ago. And you never told me? It just never felt like the right moment. And then too much time went by. Anyway, the day you left for school, a young girl knocked on my door. That's quite a story, Mom. So she's like a daughter to you or something? You invited her here to help you? And you think I'd let her take care of me? Is she tricking you, using your money or credit cards? No, not at all. She gives your dad and me part of her paycheck every other week. She hasn't missed a single one in 3 years. She lives in a tough place and eats poorly just to pay us back for what her family did. So you paid her to come here? No, I called her and said I needed help. She quit her job that day and drove here. She drove for 30 hours straight, just because I asked. That's who she is, Jonah. She never wanted to hurt you or us. The stories she tells about growing up with her older brothers and dad? Honestly, she should have turned out very different. But she's kind, friendly, and confident. She graduated second in her class, missing first place by just 2 points. Ariel and Cody both like her and trust her. She's already been helping with your care, and we both know it's unlikely you'll be walking again next week, right? You'll be bedridden soon. Physical and occupational therapy will visit for an hour each day. But if you want to get better quickly, you'll need Noel to assist you all day, every day. What happens then, Jonah? A nursing home until you can handle more activities each day and then move to a rehab center? Our insurance will only cover that for about 30 days. Then what? We will do what we must to pay, but no one will take care of you like Noel will. I promise. I need her to help care for you so I can go back to help your dad. I don't trust anyone else. Your dad says he's fine, but you know he isn't. She wanted to say that Noel could bring him home so they could all care for him, but he would never leave Zoe. Saying it would just upset him. Wow, Mom, I could never have imagined something like this. But you've really worn me out. I can't think about it anymore. I need to sleep. I understand. I love you, son. Please think about what I've said. But I have Zoe. Yes, you do. And it's clear she loves you and you love her. But she's an EMT, not an ortho spine nurse who knows how to work with people in rehab. She wanted to add that there was a big difference between the two women. I'll see you later. I love you. Your dad and I will support whatever choice you make. You know that. Just let me know. As Maggie walked through the curtains, Ariel caught her and closed the doors. Well done, Maggie. Sorry I overheard some of that. I was worried I might have to call security to have him escorted out. She laughed. But what do you think he'll do? I guess he'll think about it for a few days, weigh the good and bad sides. Then he'll see how things are with Zoe. You've probably seen how she's starting to drift away. Finally, he'll have a talk with Noel and just tell her straight. Oh, Maggie, you're a tough mom. And what about Noel? You've spent time with her. You know she can handle things. She'll let him go on until he finally wears himself out and just says, okay. I'm so glad you're not my mom. I would have been in trouble all the time. They both hugged and laughed. So what will you tell Noel? I'm not entirely sure yet, but first I need to see if she's ready to take 6 months or more off work. You can tell by how she looks at your son that she would do anything for him, whether he loves her or not. Poor girl. And you know she feels the same way about you. But Jonah didn't want to talk to Noel. He didn't want her name mentioned at all. The next day he was moved to a different unit, and a week passed. He was starting to eat small amounts, but he still had trouble. He didn't need the catheter anymore and was using a bedpan, but he couldn't move much. He was in a slow recovery stage, a time where things improved a little, but not by much. It was a frustrating time because it could last a month or longer. He lit up when Zoe came to visit. She came before and after school and sometimes stayed late. She kissed and hugged him, but they didn't share many laughs. There was a growing tension. Maggie noticed it all. She was there every day, not always in his room, but close by, just in case. Noel would pick Maggie up in the mornings at Zoe's, then go with her to the hospital to check on Jonah. They would talk throughout the day to keep Maggie from worrying too much. In the evenings, after Maggie said goodnight, they would grab something to eat. Then Noel would drop her back off at Zoe's before returning to the hospital, parking in the back lot to do her schoolwork and sleep in her car. No one knew about this. Maggie thought Noel was staying in a hotel. One day, as Ariel pulled into the lot, she saw Noel getting out of a car with foggy windows, fixing her hair and tucking in her shirt. Ariel parked next to her and jumped out. Noel, how have you been? I've missed seeing you and all your help. They shared a warm hug. Oh, I'm fine. Keeping Cody in check? Are you kidding? No way. What about Jonah? Still in a slow recovery, no big changes. He hasn't agreed to see me, so we're just waiting. What? His mother was wrong? Oh no, wait. You've been sleeping in your car for 3 weeks? Noel looked down and nodded. But it's fine, really. I'm used to it. I slept in my car for 6 months when I started school until I saved enough for an apartment. I joined a fitness club, $10 a month for the first 6 months. I take showers there, use the laundromat nearby, and I go to the hospital to brush my teeth. Everything is fine. Let me walk in with you. What does Maggie say? She doesn't know. She was surprised during nursing school. She's stressed out and she's having a tough time with Zoe. Zoe is anxious and Jonah is frustrated, so Maggie feels overwhelmed. She prefers things to be calm and organized, but it's not right now. I can't believe Maggie was wrong. Yeah, well, she can't always be right, but Maggie might have to leave soon. They run a busy bakery and Henry can't manage it alone. I offered to help, but she wants me to stay here. She shrugged. So I'm stuck in the middle. One thing is for sure. You won't be sleeping in your car anymore. Here's my address. In fact, here's my key. Get a copy made. I don't think I have a spare. That's not good, right? I'll be there by 7:30 to help you settle in. Make yourself at home. Ariel, you really don't have to. Don't say that. I'd love having you as a roommate. We'll figure out what to do on my days off. Just the two of us or maybe the three of us. Do you think Maggie can ride a horse? They laughed and nudged each other playfully. I can imagine it now. And they laughed some more. After 3 days away, Zoe came back with a serious look. She stared at him, noticing his stillness and the medical equipment, and started to shake. She didn't even look at Maggie, who was sitting nearby. Hey, Zoe. Good to see you. How was your trip? Give me a kiss and tell me all about it. Oh, I get moved to a care center tomorrow. A care center? Yep, maybe a 5-star nursing home until I can do 3 hours of therapy a day. Then I'll go to rehab. I'm taking the next step to get better. Zoe, are you okay? She stood frozen and looked at him. Her face turned red and tears began to fall. She was trembling and seemed to shrink. I can't. Jonah, I just can't do this anymore. It tears me apart every time I see you, and now you're going to a nursing home? She took a step back. I want to be strong. I've tried, but I can't. Not anymore. I can't eat. I can't sleep. My mind feels so foggy, and I'm on edge all the time. I just can't handle this. I'm really sorry, but I can't keep going like this. If we knew this would end in a week or a month, maybe I could manage it. But it feels so uncertain, and we have no idea what's next. I just can't do it. Taking a deep breath, she said, I love you. I love you more than anyone, but I have to give back your ring. I need some space to clear my mind and find myself again. Maybe if everything works out in the end, she sobbed. I just can't keep watching this day after day and wonder how our lives will turn out. Zoe, please. I can't, Jonah. I need you to be strong. She touched his face, kissed him, placed her ring on the bedside table, and hurried out. There was silence. For a whole minute. It felt like an hour. Maggie spoke softly. Oh, son, I'm so sorry. I know how much you cared for her, maybe. Just go, Mom, please, just go. And close the curtains, too. I just need some time. And take the ring. I can't even reach it. Maggie shut the curtains, turned off the light, and closed the door. She found his nurse and shared the news, then headed to the waiting room. Noel noticed her expression and rushed over. Mrs. B, are you all right? What happened? Zoe just ended the engagement and gave him back the ring. Oh, no, that's terrible. What will we do? And we need to find you a place to stay. I assume you won't stay with Zoe. No, but I need to check on her. She's hurting too. I think she's really aware of her situation now. Let's go see her, but you wait in the car. Sounds good. They drove the short distance to the apartment that Zoe and Jonah shared. Maggie walked to the door and knocked. No reply. She knocked again, and Zoe slowly opened the door. Maggie, what do you want? I wanted to see how you are. Why? I just hurt your son. Yes, you did. But you are hurting too. I could see how much you cared for him and how hard it was for you. Without waiting for an answer, she stepped in and hugged Zoe. Oh, Maggie, Zoe cried on her shoulder. It just hurts so much. I don't know what I'll do without him, but it's harder to see him like this, to wonder what his life will be like, what our lives could have been. All our dreams seem to be slipping away. But he can't even lift his arms. I'm falling apart. I don't think I could handle it for long. I'm sorry, Maggie. I know you must hate me and think I'm weak, but no, dear. This is a terrible situation for anyone. It hurts so much. I saw your pain every time you visited him. You've been through a lot, and I haven't seen you smile in weeks. Can I do anything to help? No. It's better if you and Noel leave. I know my struggle makes you feel glad. Everything turned out just like you wanted, didn't it? Zoe, that's not true. My son cared for you, and that's enough for me. Please, let me help if I can. Just go. Of course, dear. Let me gather my things, and I will leave. But please, let me know if there's anything I can do to help, Maggie said. Zoe stayed quiet. Maggie put her bag in the car. She felt sad for her son, but also wanted to celebrate that Zoe had ended things. She realized Zoe wasn't right for him, and now Noel had a chance with someone who truly fit. Noel got out of the car and put the bag in the trunk. "Is there enough room in your hotel for both of us?" Noel asked. "Actually, it's better than that. We're staying at Ariel's place. I need to get a copy of her key and pick up an inflatable mattress. It should be more comfortable than the couch." Noel drove out of the parking spot. "Are you sure it's not too much hassle? I already talked to her and it's all good." Maggie looked around and suddenly shouted, "Wait! Stop the car!" "What's wrong, Mrs. B?" Noel asked. Maggie exclaimed, "You've been sleeping in your car. Why would you do that?" Noel glanced down, then met Maggie's eyes. "I had everything I needed. I ate at the hospital or a burger place, showered at the gym. I'm used to it. I didn't know how long my money would last, and I wanted to be close to the hospital just in case." Maggie reached over, took her hand, and gave her a gentle kiss on the forehead. "Yes, Noel, those are good reasons. But why stay at Ariel's?" She laughed lightly. She wouldn't take no for an answer when she found out. "How's Zoe doing?" "Torn apart, of course. I think she's trying to figure things out. We have to take some blame for what happened. I knew it was my fault. I can't believe you got caught up in my problems. But what about Jonah? He's really struggling. You could see how sad he was. He asked me to leave. He's moving to a nursing home tomorrow, and I want to check on him, but Noel, he'll need you. Please stay nearby." "I'm not going anywhere, Mrs. B. I wonder if their parking lot is nice." Very funny. The next day, Jonah moved to the nursing home just 3 weeks after proposing to Zoe. He would have preferred to go to rehab, but he was awake and aware, yet unable to move much, so there wasn't much he could gain from rehab. The transfer went smoothly, and the staff began their assessments and created a plan for him. Nurses, therapists, dietitians, and social workers each looked at his needs and made a plan for his time there. But Jonah didn't care about any of that. He only felt a deep sense of loss and emptiness. He wished the world would just go away and leave him alone. He had been very happy. He loved his girlfriend, his school, and the place where he lived, and everything seemed good. But now, the girl he thought he could count on had left when he needed her the most. His family was working with someone who had made his high school life difficult, and he felt completely helpless. From feeling strong and independent, he had become lost and needing help. Why was this happening to him? What did he do to deserve this? Now he found himself in a nursing home with many older people. So much for his fresh start. On the second day, bright sunlight burst into the room as a young nurse named Nancy came in. It was summer, and he guessed it was around 7 in the morning. "Good morning. I'm Nancy, your nurse. I'm here to help you. You made quite an impression yesterday. We'll be taking care of you until you're ready for the next step." She adjusted his position in bed, moving him up slightly. "Wow, I'm really struggling here. But let's try to sit you up a bit more so I can feed you some scrambled eggs and toast. The kitchen wants us to start with soft food and see how you handle it. My goal is to help you eat without any issues. Sound good? But no throwing up allowed. I really dislike that. So let's get started." He didn't say anything but managed a small smile. "You've got some charm. You really should smile more. But don't think you can flirt with me. I'm happily married with 2 adorable daughters, but I bet there's an interesting story behind that smile of yours. All right, open your mouth. Here comes the first bite." She watched him as he chewed and swallowed. "Well done. We have our first success." She took a step back, noticing how he reacted. "Sorry if I'm too far away. I told you about my experiences in feeling sick. It was a relief that my little girls didn't throw up. They probably knew I would leave them somewhere safe if they did." Stepping back to the bed. "So, how were those eggs? Come on, Jonah, if you can eat, you can talk. Please tell me your thoughts." "They were very good. Thanks." And he speaks, ladies and gentlemen. One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Or something like that. How do you like your coffee? "I might not remember, but I could pour it in your feeding tube," she chuckled. "But it tastes better when you drink it. Honestly, I rarely use a straw." "So did you have enough to eat?" "Yes, it was great. Thanks. I'll let our cooks know you liked it. They are very skilled, even if they have their quirks. Let's get you cleaned up. There are a couple of ladies waiting to see you soon. They are not pleased with your fancy hospital. No hints, please. You'll recognize them when they arrive. Okay, I'll tell you. You got it out of me. Haley is from physical therapy, and Joss, also called Jocelyn, is from occupational therapy. They'll be here around 9. Your mom said she'd stop by around 8. So, who's that woman with her? She seems impressive and friendly. I chatted with her for a bit. She knows her stuff. Oh, that's an intense look. Definitely not your sister. Looks like there's more to uncover here. Anyway, it's been enjoyable, but I have other tasks to do. Your joints are stiff and need some movement, but it's not as bad as I feared. Has someone been helping you? He looked at his mother. Anyway, you've got wrist drop and foot drop, which means you can't hold your hands and feet properly, so Joss will make some splints for you. You've got a lot of work ahead. It will take time to fix what's happened and to help you move again. Here's the issue. We aren't a rehabilitation center. I can only work with you for an hour a day, and Joss will probably be here for even less time, right? We just aren't equipped for someone like you, who is young and temporarily struggles with movement. If you show me, I can try some of the exercises. That would be wonderful, Mrs. Baxter. If we can focus on him, he'll progress quickly as his nerves heal and he starts to move again. We can't let him lose any more ground. I have about half an hour. I'll go over some exercises. Joss will return later to fit the splints and prepare a bag with a long tube that you can drink from whenever you want. She winked and whispered, "And we'll fill it with something special on Friday night. Just kidding. Sorry about that. And they say drinking from a straw makes it hit you faster. We'd need a proper study on that. Any volunteers?" She and Joss laughed and raised their hands. "Let's get started. Maggie, come over here. Don't worry, you won't break anything." "That's enough. I'm tired of your complaints. It's not my fault you can't do things for yourself. You're here because of your choices, and it's not my fault that things turned out this way. It's better to face it now than wait." "Mom, No, listen to me. I need to get back to the store. Your dad is working too hard. It's been almost 3 weeks. Don't say anything. There's a really good nurse who can help you properly. Let her help. If you want to get better, let her do her job. You don't have to talk to her if you don't want to. Jonah, she left her job the day I called. She was living in her car while you were in the hospital. Mom, you don't understand. She went through a lot too. She's not what you think. Just talk to her, okay? All right. Good." She pointed at him. "But I need you to hear this. I care about her a lot. She's like a daughter to me. She's been through things you can't imagine, things that would have broken you. The only one who can hurt her now is you. Don't do it. If you do, I won't forgive you. I won't forgive myself for pushing her into this. Got it?" "Wow, Mom. What has she done to you?" "Just don't worry. She's out hiking today. I told her to take some time for herself. I'll talk to her tonight. She'll probably come by tomorrow, then I'll head home." "Jonah, this is Noel. Noel, this is Jonah. I'm going to leave you two to get acquainted. Mrs. B, it'll be fine, Noel. He promised to behave. You've been here before." It felt even more uncomfortable for her to be alone with him. After everything, she was excited, but also anxious, filled with fears and doubts. "Mom says you're a nurse?" "Yes. And you know how to help with this sort of recovery?" "Yes, somewhat. I work with patients who need rehab after injuries and those who have trouble moving." "Have you worked with Guillain-Barré patients?" "Only one for a few days, and then you when you were in the ICU. So you." He looked down at himself. She chuckled softly. "Yes, Jonah, I've seen you." She laughed again. "Boys, honestly, yours was pretty typical. Feeling better? Really? No, a normal body is just that, a normal body." He laughed this time. "And just so you know, I had to help you when you needed it. So I've seen that part too." His face turned red. "Oh, look, he's blushing. Jonah, sick people sometimes have accidents. Not much you can do about it. I'm a nurse, it's my job. And yes, you matter too." They both laughed. "So what do you think, Jonah? Why? Why are you helping me?" "Because I care about your family and I owe them a lot. Plus your mom asked me." "Is that all?" "That's all I'm saying. Take it or leave it." "I'll take it, I guess. Where do we start?" "First, have you eaten? Your breakfast tray is over there." He shook his head. "Let's start with that." "Good job, Jonah. You finished it all." Chris walked in just as she announced this. "He ate everything?" Noel nodded. Do you clean up unpleasant messes? Yes? Good, come with me down the hall. Just kidding. I really don't like it. It makes me feel sick. So, you'll be helping this big guy move a bit? Yep, exactly. Laughing. When will Haley see him? About 10 o'clock, I think. Can I work with him a bit before that? Sure, I'll close the door so the others don't hear him. Really? The two women exchanged amused glances. Oh, this guy is just too easy. Good luck with him, Noel. Let me know if you need help. Enough joking, Jonah? Yeah, at my expense. In a serious tone. Luke, let's start your training. Focus. Actually, let's adjust your gown a bit. The gown slipped down and she paused, her eyes glistening. You did that? Yes, I did. It was a tough time. Taking a deep breath. Let's see how far we can move your shoulder. Wow, it's tight. Just relax. Sorry, it's just something I always say. Jonah, Anyway, I'm going to push a bit and hold. It might feel a little uncomfortable, but shouldn't really hurt. Good, relax more and hold. Now let's rotate it this way and hold. Great. Now this way. You're doing wonderfully, Jonah. Let's take off the splint. Oh no, your wrist is stiff. It was getting better before. Well, before you were taken off the ventilator. The muscles underneath are stronger, so your wrist tends to droop. The splint helps, but we need to push a bit more. There we go. Let's get it closer to 90 degrees. Are you okay? Remember, pressure is fine. We don't want real pain. Now we've worked on both shoulders, elbows, wrists, and all your little finger joints. Next, we'll move on to your legs. And yes, I might see a bit more of you. How thoughtful. You're being careful. That's a good thing. She chuckled lightly. Let's put a towel here for your comfort, she said with a small laugh. All right, let's focus on your hips. Oh man, you're so strong. Let's take it slow. She positioned herself at the foot of the bed, carefully moving his legs to stretch them. Steady pressure little by little until his legs rested against his chest. She noticed Jonah glancing at her, and for a moment it made her blush. Normally she wouldn't even notice something like that, but this was different. It was Jonah. Okay, let's take a break, she said, stepping back. We'll focus on one thing at a time. Just then, Haley walked in. Hi, Haley, right? Noel greeted her. Haley nodded. I'm Noel. I've been helping out a bit here with Jonah. Hope that's okay. Maybe I can watch what you do and follow your lead throughout the day? That sounds great, Haley said. Let's start with his shoulder. It's been really stiff. Wow. Did you do this, Noel? Jonah chimed in. Yeah, she did. Did she mess it up? No, not at all, Haley reassured them. Actually, I'm impressed. I didn't expect this much progress so soon. You've really helped, but we need to keep at it. She continued, if you can help with his exercises a couple of times a day, that would be perfect. We're at a tough stage, but we're getting there. They worked together to move Jonah carefully, easing him into different positions. Noel followed Haley's instructions, feeling a bit more confident as the session went on. Later, Noel's friend Maggie flew back home, which was hard on both of them. Ariel, another friend, had a new boyfriend, so Noel went back to living in her car and using the gym for showers. Days passed, and Jonah seemed to get more frustrated with each one. The progress was slow, and after 3 weeks of barely noticeable changes, Jonah started taking his frustration out on Noel. He complained constantly, saying everything she did was wrong. She wasn't stretching his muscles right, breakfast wasn't good, nothing was ever enough. One morning, after another round of complaints, Noel's frustration boiled over. Enough! She shouted, surprising even herself. Jonah stared at her, eyes wide. I've been giving up everything to help you. I quit my job, I'm living out of my car, and I'm doing everything I can, and all you do is criticize me. I've had it. I do everything for you, you know. You're just like my family. I'm back to being Cinderella, but honestly, you treat me even worse. As long as I took care of everything, they never complained. But you give me a hard time every single day, so forget you. You're officially worse than my difficult brothers. Congratulations. And stop smiling at me. Yeah, this is really funny. I'm taking the day off. I'm going hiking, or maybe I'll just find a quiet place and lay down. What kind of town doesn't have a train track? Maybe I'll find a bus. I don't know. See you tomorrow. And again, congratulations. You made me curse like my dad always said I did. I don't usually swear. Dang it. See you tomorrow and stop smiling. This is not funny. I should just punch you lightly. She grabbed her purse and hurried out of the building. Chris tried to catch her, but she was too fast. 4 hours later, she returned, and Chris watched her. Nice choice of words there. Never thought. And I'm frustrated with you, too. They both laughed, and Chris gave her a hug. You're sleeping in your car? I'm used to it. No big deal. She held her head high and went to take care of Jonah. Sorry, was all she said, and he nodded in response. They acted like nothing had happened. He was better, but still not well. She understood his frustration and anger. It was exhausting for her. By the end of the day, all she wanted was to curl up in her back seat and cry. She would call his family, put him on speaker, and leave the room. But she could hear him complaining about everything, especially her. Maggie would call her later, and she'd say everything was fine. No problems. Getting along great. But Maggie knew this was tearing her apart and pleaded with her to hang in there a little longer. 3 days later, Noel finished feeding him lunch, cleaning him up, and changing his sheets. She had helped the physical therapist get him into a chair. He was making progress. His tubes were out, and she thought he'd be happy about it. But he seemed neither happy nor sad. The anger had worn her out, and she asked Chris to help her get him back into bed. Chris touched her arm and silently asked, Are you okay? Can I help? I'm fine. No problem. Jonah was sleeping, worn out from his therapy. She sat by his bed, tired in body and mind. She rested her head on the bed, pulled the covers closer, and cried softly. Lord, I know I usually pray only when I need something or want help, and I know that's not right. I should be thankful for all the good things in my life. My 2 families, my job, if I ever get back to it, all of it. I don't really know who you are, but I think you hear me. I hope you do. I need a favor. Please. I need you to help Jonah get better. Make him strong again, like in the story where the whale frees someone. He wants to do so many things, but I feel tired. I feel like I'm not doing things right. I want to be strong and supportive, to do all the right things. She tapped her fist lightly on the bed with each word. You've helped me be brave and face everything. I am brave, except when he talks to me that way. It makes me weak. He is the only one that makes me feel that way. When he gets angry, I feel like I just fall apart. It hurts my heart deeply, worse than anything else. Each word stabs at me. It really hurts. I just want to run away and hide, but I can't do that. I can't leave him. I can't leave Mrs. B and Henry. I know that no one else could care for him the way I do. She sighed softly. So please help me. Give me the strength I need to keep going no matter how it turns out. Please? She didn't notice that he had stopped snoring and was watching her with concern. Lord, I've always wanted to make him happy, but it feels like I mostly make him sad. My family often makes things harder for him. If we could just help him become like he was before, to hike and climb and do the things he loves, maybe then Zoe would come back and he would be happy again. Please help her see what she's giving up. He's not just any guy, he's the best. How could she leave him when he needs her? I could never have left no matter what. So maybe you could help her come back? She took a deep breath. I know this is a lot to ask, and I shouldn't ask for myself. I don't really deserve it. But if Zoe won't return, could you help him to love me just a little bit, or even more? Or if that's not what is meant to be, then please help me love him a little less. I felt this way since 3rd grade, and the emptiness in my life hurts so much. Sometimes it feels so heavy. Please. I'm sorry for asking so much. Thank you for listening. She buried her face in his blankets, trying to hide her sadness, when suddenly she felt a hand gently hold hers. She was surprised and lifted her head quickly. Oh no! She realized he was looking at her, and panic set in. Jonah! Oh, Jonah, I'm so sorry! I didn't expect you to. You weren't meant to hear any of that. Wait, you moved your hand. You actually moved your hand. She quickly hugged him. Oh, Jonah, I'm so excited and happy for you. You did move it, right? It didn't just fall onto me or anything. I need to call your mom. Then you can tell her yourself. This is a good sign. Recovery usually starts on the less active side first. She hugged him again. Jonah, sorry, Jonah. I guess I shouldn't be so close to you. So you prayed for Zoe to come back if it would make me happy? She nodded, worried about where this might lead. But you... She nodded again, looking down. Yes, since around 3rd grade. She looked back up into his eyes. I'm sorry. Maybe your prayers were answered after all. She gazed at him, confused. What did he mean? Which prayer was he talking about? Her thoughts spun. She just had to wait and see, but inside she was thinking, thank you. Whether it was her prayers or just the fact that he could move his arm a little, everything changed. His eyes followed her every move. Sometimes she felt nervous, like she had something stuck in her teeth or a mark on her scrubs. There were no more harsh words or frustration. He smiled, he laughed. Hearing him laugh made her so happy. She wanted to dance around the room and never leave. She stayed late and they talked about anything and everything. One day, as she headed to Jonah's room, someone pulled her into an empty room. "You! What did you do to him?" At first she was surprised, then she laughed. "Chris, you scared me." "Did you take him for some secret treatment? Are you putting something in his coffee? I'm getting a test done. This is serious." "Just the power of prayer." "You're being silly." They both laughed at that. She raised the head of his bed and noticed him looking down. "Are you looking at my shirt, Mr. Baxter?" He turned red. "It looks nice. Can you do that again?" She laughed. "Why are you acting like that? Your mom would not approve." "No, I think my mom would be very happy." Noel nodded slightly. "But what's that mark on you?" She froze. The smile faded as she remembered that night. "Oh, it's nothing. Why are you looking so closely?" "No, really, it looks like a scar, and it's big." "How closely were you looking? I guess I'll have to wear a shirt. No funny business while I'm around." "Funny business?" She pointed towards him. "Oh, seriously, Noel, where did that come from?" "I can't tell you, Jonah. Please. No secrets." "Tell me." Taking a deep breath, she said, "In 9th grade, when I accidentally hurt you," she pointed to his chest, "I felt terrible. I never wanted to hurt you. I took the branding iron and pressed it against myself until it cooled off. Then I threw it in the lake." "You burned yourself?" "Yes, and ruined my favorite shirt. Luckily, I wasn't wearing anything else underneath because I thought I looked good in that shirt. That's it." "Show me." "No, you just want to see more than that." "Well, yes, but I want to see what you did to yourself." Without saying anything, she lifted her shirt slightly to show a mark. She heard him gasp. "Wow, Noel, that must have been painful. It looks serious." Looking down, she replied, "It hurt, but the pain I felt when I saw you beaten up was even worse. That made me feel terrible. I did hit my brother back, though." He stared at her. "Noel, I'm sorry. I didn't know, and I didn't believe my mom when she told me." "That makes sense, especially since we weren't going out or anything." "So you didn't have any dates at all?" "Nope. A few friendly get-togethers, but that's all." "But why? You're smart and funny and pretty." In a playful voice, she said, "Oh, you say the sweetest things. I don't know. Nothing ever felt right or something." She thought about adding it was always him, but held back. "So you never—" "Enough questions. I don't want to talk about it in case you tease me or make me feel bad." He reached out and pulled her closer. "Come here, Noel, please." She climbed onto the bed and snuggled. She laid his arm over her. "Noel, I need to say I'm sorry. I regret all the things I've said and done. I was wrong and not kind to you. But you didn't know. You couldn't have known. I'm still sorry, especially for the past few weeks. I wouldn't have made it through without your support. My mom was right. So, are you going to kiss me or not? Because I'd like to do it myself, but maybe I will." She kissed him gently. He leaned in, and for a moment she was surprised, having never really kissed anyone before. When their lips met, it felt nice. She made a soft noise. Then she wondered if she had done it right. She pulled back. "Jonah, no secrets. I'm like that character from a movie." "Which movie?" "Never mind. I've never really kissed anyone before. I know it sounds silly, but was that okay? Did I mess anything up? Please help me. It was amazing. I really enjoyed that sound you made." "What sound?" "Oh, Jonah, you worry too much?" "Yes. Now be quiet and kiss me again. Let's make sure you've got it right." "Ahem." Noel jumped off the bed and stood next to it. "Chris, are you finished with the meal tray, Noel?" "Yes, we are done." Shaking her head, she said, "It must be something strange. I want some for my husband." "No, it's mind control. When you come over on Saturday, I want you to use it on my daughters. Make them clean their rooms. See you then." "Wait, what should I bring? What are you planning to do? Bake a cake on your car?" "Wait, the girls like ice cream, right? I'll bring an ice cream cake." "Don't spoil those kids, fine. a small one. Chris picked up the tray and left. How do you do it, Noel? You seem to make friends everywhere, like Ariel and now Chris. I guess I'm making up for lost time. I didn't really have any friends in high school. You know what they say, it's the journey that matters, not just the end point. What did you say? Our plans may not go as we expect. Just look at us. It's the experiences that count. Make today so wonderful that yesterday is jealous. What? Why are you staring at me? You're making me uneasy. Sorry, it's just what? Nothing. He started to recover more quickly. His feeling was returning, and he could begin moving his arms and legs. She let him try feeding himself. It didn't go so well except for toast or cookies. They grew closer, but they only shared occasional kisses. He wanted to do more, and she did too, but she worried that they might get caught, and she wanted it to feel relaxed and enjoyable. He was eager to exercise like he used to, pushing himself to his limits and then resting. He quickly learned that this wasn't effective. If he overdid it today, he wouldn't feel better tomorrow. Progress felt slow, and frustration turned inward instead of towards Noel. On one of those recovery days, while she was helping him with his movements and looking out the window at the rain, she said, "Noel, what are you looking at?" "Robins and crows." "What?" "Robins and crows. It's raining. The worms are coming out of the ground looking for food. The robins and crows are taking advantage. They're so different. The robins are nice but look a bit messy, like they've been up all night. Watch them. They hop and look, hop again and investigate. They really search for worms. Yes, and now watch the crows. They look sleek and shiny. They step forward and find a worm easily. They really have everything planned out. They don't waste any time or effort. Do you know why they are so clever? No. I didn't know they would eat worms like that. It's because they are really smart. Some people say they are as bright as chimpanzees or gorillas. Really? No way! Their brains are tiny. Well, actually, when you compare their brain size to their bodies, it's similar to a chimp's, maybe even bigger. Plus, crows have about the same number of brain cells, maybe even more than chimps and gorillas. The brain cells are just smaller to fit. They're clever. They watch you and understand you. Sometimes I find them a bit creepy, she chuckled. Can you imagine if a little girl said, "What does your mommy do?" And she answered, "She counts bird brain cells." That would be funny. Noel, how did you notice all this? I was outside all the time, but I never really looked. I spent a lot of time in my room watching from my window. There was so much to see. You could tell when something was wrong. If a hawk was nearby, the cardinals and other birds would hide and make warning sounds. A cat or snake? They would still be half hidden. People? They'd fly away high up into the trees. That's really impressive, Noel. It's all about the Ferdinand method. What's that? You know Ferdinand the bull? He would stop to look closely at every flower and smell it. I don't suggest you do it like the Disney bull, but it's about enjoying the experience. Have you ever noticed when you're hiking, you can sense people coming before you hear them? Birds, especially doves, fly away when they see someone. Walkers are okay, but joggers really scare them. They get flustered and fly off, except in parks or cities where they are used to it. Maybe I should pay more attention to what's happening around me. You should pay more attention to me and follow what the physical therapy people say. 2 weeks later, he could sit in a chair most of the day, stand a bit, feed himself, and wash himself, sort of. He moved to the rehabilitation center, which changed things a lot. Noel was still close, but her role shifted from main caregiver to a supportive observer. She still helped him eat and with his exercise routines, but physical and occupational therapy took up most of his time. She felt uncertain about where she belonged. "Chloe, can I talk to you for a minute?" "Sure, I like your name, by the way. I'm not fond of mine," she smiled. "What's on your mind?" "I want you to know that you're in charge here. I want to learn, but I don't want to get in your way. You have your own methods, and if you think it's best for me to step back and just visit at night, that's okay. If you need me to do anything, just let me know." "No, you've been really helpful. He actually seems to improve when he knows you're nearby. Tomorrow I'm going to try him in the pool. Bring a swimsuit and you can help me." "What do you think?" "Sounds great. I'll go to the store. I hope they have what I need. It's summer, but we're already selling fall and winter items." She touched Chloe's arm. Thanks for your help. It really means a lot to me. I can use all the help I can get. He may be a bit smaller now, but he's still a good size. That way, Emma can do something else. We're about the same size, so I'll bring a suit for you just in case. Perfect. The next day, Noel quietly entered the bathroom, put on her new suit, and covered it with a bathrobe. She took Jonah and Chloe to the pool and removed her robe. Jonah smiled at her, but Chloe began to laugh loudly. Noel, where did you get that suit? It looks like something a grandma would wear. Striking a playful pose, she said, What? I heard that big, bright patterns are coming back in style. Yeah, if you lived 1,000 years ago, I might have to cancel today. We have a rule against making a mess in the pool, and every time I see that suit, hold on, I want to take a picture. No pictures. This is all I could find. I looked everywhere. It was from a thrift shop. Jonah, don't you have anything to say? You're just sitting there grinning. Nope. Just keep it that way unless you want me to give you a surprise. I had a different outfit planned, but I worried it might not suit you. Both girls giggled, and Jonah turned red. But that suit is something else. Okay, let's get this life vest on him and lower him into the water. Good. Noel, you should get in the water too, and I can't stop laughing. Noel, get in the pool now and help him down. Noel jumped in, feeling a quick chill, but it was easy to adjust. Here he comes, Jonah, pretend you're swimming. Move your arms and legs against the water. We'll be back soon, just kidding. Now keep moving, but don't overdo it. Remember, if you push too hard today, you might struggle tomorrow. We'll see how it goes today, and then maybe tomorrow we can try walking in the water or some gentle swimming. Sounds fun, right? A nice change from the exercise room. As the rehab month neared its end, he was doing much better. He could stand and take a few careful steps using the bars, building his strength, and managing light weights for his arms. He was improving, but still had a long way to go. She encouraged him, but she noticed that he was becoming restless and frustrated. She remained his cheerleader and constant companion, trying to keep him engaged with talks about nature, trees, plants, and crafts. He usually felt tired and fell asleep by 9. That gave her time to do schoolwork until midnight before heading to the car. She got up at 5, took a shower at the gym, had breakfast, and then did some schoolwork. But that was okay. She had what she needed, and she felt happy. The only thing she disliked was when she had to spend an evening washing her hair at the gym and putting it into rollers. She had tried it without rollers, but thought it made her look like someone from the 1960s. She was happy, but wished she could help him feel less frustrated. One morning, she woke up with a thought. Thank you, Lord. Jonah, I spoke with Chloe while you enjoyed your breakfast, and we're going to change things a bit. I will wear my swimsuit, but I won't wear that tiny one. It might make you feel uncomfortable, and then you wouldn't be able to move well in the water. So I'll change, and then you can practice your forms or whatever you do. You know, the kung fu stuff. What do you think? He looked excited. That sounds great. I love doing that. I've never seen any of it, but I believe it will help you build strength, balance, and coordination. I will support you so you don't drift back. If it works well, we can try it on land at the workroom. Ready? Yes. She stood behind him as he started his forms. She quickly noticed he was moving around too much for her to do anything but watch. He struggled a bit in the water. He wasn't used to the resistance, but she saw him calm down and adapt, using the water to help instead of fighting it. He pushed against it for resistance, then moved his hand so it slid smoothly back through the water into the next position. He flowed from one movement to another, still trying to find his rhythm. He was focused, and after about 15 minutes, he was breathing hard. Chloe looked concerned. Jonah, that looks great. That may be enough for today until we see how you feel tomorrow. I know it doesn't seem like much, but you used your muscles in a new way. You're breathing heavily and slowing down, so Yes, you in the flowered swimsuit. Take off the harness and let him move a bit. Great job, Jonah. Do you want to try it on land tomorrow? Yes, that felt amazing. The next morning, Noel helped him get cleaned up and eat, then worked with him on exercises to improve his movement. He went to the therapy room in a wheelchair and was secured in a safety harness, similar to what you would find at a rock-climbing wall. If he started to fall, Chloe could catch him, but otherwise he was on his own. All right, Jonah. Ready when you are. Remember to start slow and take your time until you feel warmed up, she said. He began moving through his positions, but would sometimes lose his balance and stumble. The harness supported him, allowing him to keep going. He practiced for half an hour. Both women were impressed by his control, even at this early stage. He improved every day, but it was a gradual process. He was almost 4 months into his recovery from that day on the mountain. He was getting stronger, his balance was improving, and he felt more in his hands and feet. His stamina was slowly getting better. And then Noel? Can we talk about something? Of course, Claire. What's on your mind? It's about his insurance for rehab. He has about a week left of coverage, and then he will have to pay out of pocket. If we can't show he can pay, well, it won't be easy. It's not like how it is in a hospital. Oh no! He has been doing so well. What can we do? They are still willing to cover some outpatient rehab, but not a lot. Where will that be? Does it have to be here, or can it be back home? He's still covered by his parents' plan, so setting it up back in Wilmington should be fine. That's great. Can you give me a day or so to see what I can arrange? Sure. How can I help? 3 days later, after dinner, Noel went to Jonah. Jonah, we need to talk. He looked as if he might get sick, like he had just received bad news. You've had enough. You're leaving, just like... Don't say that, Jonah. Sometimes you can be a bit clueless, just like my brothers. That's really something. She went to him and kissed him. I'm not going anywhere. You are important to me. I spoke with Claire from social services. Your coverage is almost up and we need to figure out next steps. He looked worried. You knew? Why didn't you tell me? What will I do? I have to leave. My family can't pay for this. But I'm not ready. I just started using that walker. Calm down and listen. You've made a lot of progress. Remember when you couldn't move at all? You went from a stretcher to a wheelchair to the pool to walking with support, and now you're even using the bars. That's impressive. Looking into his eyes, she continued, Your arms are much stronger now. Your hands are still a bit weak, but you can hold a fork and a pencil. That's better than what the doctor thought would happen. Maybe I don't need more therapy. I could just do it myself. With your help, of course. No, we definitely need therapy. The issue is that your muscles don't all get better at the same time, so your body might use the wrong muscles. I don't know enough to notice that, and you might not either. We need the therapist to guide us. It's the same for your arms and hands. We need to ensure you recover properly, not just in any way. Taking a breath, she added, We have choices. Remember the saying, come to me with solutions, not just problems. He shook his head in response. Not surprising. It was part of a nurse management course. We can apply for loans to pay for your treatment and continue to do what we're doing. It's not the best option, right? He agreed with a nod. We could find an apartment and switch to outpatient care. That sounds simple. I could just move into your place. That would be fine, wouldn't it? It would be great. But I actually don't have an apartment. We'd need to find one quickly. What do you mean you don't have one? Where do you sleep? She sighed. I sleep in my car. I clean up at the gym and eat at fast food places or gas stations. Oh no, Noel, why? How long has this been going on? That's awful. Why didn't I know? That's a lot of questions. It seems like you're getting a bit overexcited. Since Ariel started dating, I got tired of feeling out of place and hearing them all night, which was before you left the hospital. But I got used to it during nursing school for a semester, so it's not new. We can find an apartment and do outpatient care here. Or I can take you home. You can live there, and I can drive you to your appointments and help you on the days you don't go. What does Mom think? She is really excited. Chloe has spoken with a nearby outpatient facility, and they're ready to help you. I talked to your dad about clearing out the garage and installing some safety features around the house, like bars for support in the bathroom and other places, which we may need when you use a walker. But I can't go upstairs? Exactly. You can move into your parents' bedroom since it has the bathroom nearby, plus it's close to the kitchen and garage. They can stay in the guest room for now. No, I can't let them do that. Jonah, you'll really hurt your mom if you don't let her help. Please, let her support you. What about you? I'm still figuring that out. I have an apartment and will probably stay there. Your mom wants me to stay with you, but I would feel a little awkward being around. Besides, if we want to spend time together, she might notice how messy it gets. Of course. It's driving me crazy being in here with you so close. Really? Well, if I invited you to my place, would it feel less awkward? What do you think? Let's go home. What about my things here? I packed them all away because Zoe changed her mind. You should have seen how uncomfortable that was with her glaring at me the whole time. It was really unsettling. She wouldn't help at all. I had a feeling you'd respond this way, and my car couldn't handle a trailer hitch. So I traded it for a used Ray V4 that has a hitch and reserved a trailer to move your stuff. My things will fit in the back, too. I have pillows, blankets, and everything else you might need for the drive home. Wow, Noel. So are you in for this plan? Sure. I just feel a bit bad that I can't help much. About that, there's something tricky I want to ask you. Okay, what is it? We're checking out tomorrow morning, but instead of driving right away, I should have mentioned this before, and it's okay if you say no, but I've never asked anyone this before. Noel? All right. I got a motel room, and I was wondering if we could go on a real date like dinner and such. Of course, that sounds nice. I know a great place. And then maybe you and I... Oh, never mind, I can't even say it. Maybe we could just spend more time together. I don't know, Noel. I've been thinking of waiting until I'm married for that. She looked at him, then said, Are you joking? Here I am being honest, and you're making fun of me. Noel, I'm just playing, when I see you looking so nice. You're so silly. I might trip you just to keep you in check. Forget it, we'll just leave tomorrow. Noel, come here. He pulled her close, and she didn't resist much. I think you're amazing, and you make me really happy. I care about you a lot. Really? Would you? I've waited so long, these last few months have been tough being so close after all this time. Every time I see you, I can't help but be excited. Now come on, we both know you're not that over the top. Hey, that's mean. It's hard to keep my distance from you. Can we leave tonight instead? Tonight? No. I'm really excited, but I need to handle some things first. I love you so much. But Jonah, I'm a bit unsure about what to do. You need to guide me and no teasing, okay? Let's take our time. I promise. I mean, I've read about things and seen some videos, but some of it seems a bit too much. And I don't want to be seen in a bad light, even though people have said things. But if that's how adults connect, I guess I can try. Relax, Noel. That's not how everyone does it. You'll do just fine. I know it. Okay, so it's settled. Give me a kiss. I have to study for a test, and we'll see you in the morning. Well, actually, I still have to pick up my car, get the trailer, collect our things, and grab some food and drinks. Just take it easy, Noel. I've never seen you so nervous before. I just don't want to let you down. You won't. Relax. Take some deep breaths. Knit a bit and find your calm spot. That's what helps, right? Yeah. How'd you know? I'm not as clueless as your brothers. Oh, Jonah, I didn't mean... He kissed her gently. Go on, Noel. See you tomorrow. Jonah, I love you so much. Go, Noel. Focus on your studies and get some rest. The next day, they met around noon, finished the paperwork, and packed up his things. She helped him into a wheelchair and wheeled him out to the car. Getting him into the SUV took some effort, but it wasn't too bad. They drove to the motel where she had prepared a room for him. She set up the wheelchair again and helped him inside. It's nice, he said. No, it's not, she replied with a laugh. It's not the best place, but it's the only one with easy access for the wheelchair. I hope it's okay. It's perfect because I'm here with you, Jonah said, smiling. He stood up and held out his arms. She walked over, and he gently brushed a strand of hair away from her face before kissing her softly. She hugged him tightly, and they stayed like that for a moment, just holding each other. Jonah chuckled. There's that little sound you make again. Get used to it, she teased. You might hear it a lot. They sat down together on the couch, sharing a quiet, tender moment. There was no rush, just a sense of peace and closeness. He knew it was her first time in so many ways, and he wanted to take it slow. After a while, they sat side by side, enjoying the comfort of being near each other. The connection between them was deep, and they didn't need words to understand how much they cared for one another. The day passed peacefully, and they were content just being together. Noel hugged him tightly, her body trembling for a moment before going still. Noel, you're amazing. Really? Am I okay? More than okay. But maybe we should move to the bed. I'm not too sure about this couch. She laughed. Yeah, me either. Here, let me help you. She steadied him with one hand, leading him towards the bed. They lay down together, close and comfortable. He kissed her gently, and she relaxed into his embrace. They stayed like that for a while, savoring the closeness, the warmth between them. The connection they shared felt new but strong. There was no rush, just an understanding between them that everything was all right. "Should we keep it simple for now?" Jonah asked, breaking the silence with a soft smile. "Yeah," she agreed, still a bit nervous but more at ease now. "Let's take it slow." They continued to share soft kisses, letting the moment stretch out. The atmosphere was one of care and mutual respect, with no need to hurry or worry. Everything felt right, and they were content just being together, enjoying the peace and quiet that came with their closeness. As time passed, their laughter and light conversation filled the room. It wasn't about anything grand or complicated, just two people appreciating each other's company. They didn't need anything more than that for the time being. Most women complain if their partner finishes too quickly. "So, are you saying I'm not normal and am like what my dad called me?" He laughed again. "No, it's fine that you enjoy it. It makes me feel great. But maybe in this case, it's okay to have fun without worrying too much. That's better than having to work hard just to feel good." "You've convinced me. So, it's okay for me to feel good before you do?" He nodded. "All right, go ahead, my superhero." He began again, moving faster. Soon he paused and slowed down. "Jonah, you just finished, didn't you?" "Yep." "Could you keep going a little longer? I'm really close." He picked up speed but then slowed again. She took control and matched every move, saying, "Oh, Jonah, this is nice. I really like this." She squeezed and relaxed. With a long, satisfied sigh, she asked, "So what now?" "That's up to you." He was breathing heavily. "We can keep going, try new things, or just rest for a bit." Seeing that he was tired, she was eager to discover what it would feel like when he had more energy. "Let's do that. I just want to relax with you. Can we roll over so I can lie on you? You seem a bit shaky." "Sure." She felt close to him, heart to heart. She fell asleep wishing it would last. The next morning, she woke up late to find him dressed and watching her. "I didn't even notice you got out of bed. I guess you really wore me out, just like they say. Maybe we should stay here a bit longer, or even a month." "Nope. Get up, beautiful. Take a shower, and then we can grab a quick breakfast and hit the road." "You took your shower already?" "Yeah, it took a while, but I was careful. I'm getting better at this, right?" She jumped out of bed and hugged him. "Jonah, that's great. And last night was even more amazing. You were wonderful. I can't wait to see what it's like when you get even better." "Oh, it was nothing really, just a regular day." He reached toward her. She moved away gently. "No, let's talk instead. We need to have a serious discussion." "Uh-oh." "I'll ignore that little comment. So it's over 1,800 miles to your house. The map says 26 hours. We could take it slow, maybe 6 hours a day, stay at motels, and enjoy some time together each night. That sounds nice. Or we could drive straight through, but I may need a nap or two." She thought for a moment. "Either way, I'd like you to wear your special device for safety." By the time we finished getting the wheelchair out and helping you sit in it, we found ourselves wheeling up the hill to the restroom. Why are all the restrooms at rest areas built on hills? It takes a lot of time to do all that. I have a special urinal, but using it would be a bit tricky. I could help, but I might get a little distracted, so I'm not sure how well that would work. What do you think? Let's drive straight through, but we should stop when you need a break. I'll use the special device so we don't have to stop often. I remember seeing a video of someone putting on a condom in a funny way. It looked clever, but with your setup, it might not work quite the same. Let's just make it simple and run it through your zipper, all right? A few moments later, all set. It's actually easier when it gets firm. That was unexpected. Just make sure to adjust it as needed. Now, let's keep going. Handing him a small bag. Here's a ball for you to squeeze to help with your hand strength. And I brought some rubber bands to help you spread your fingers. Basically, you need to strengthen those little muscles in your hands. Oh, and we're listening to my music, not that loud metal stuff you like. Instead of 30 hours, the trip took over 4 days. She learned he needed to get out of the car to stretch his legs, otherwise he would start feeling discomfort. But that meant 3 extra nights at a motel. They spent 3 nights snuggled together. Each night they tried something new, but he was often too tired, so their moments together were short. She didn't mind, they were just happy to be together. When they finally pulled into the driveway, his family rushed out to welcome him. He carefully stepped out of the car and steadied himself as his mom hugged him tightly. "Oh, Jonah, It's so wonderful to have you home. She gently stroked his cheek. You look great. Come inside, I've made a cake and some sandwiches for you. His dad joined in with a hug, too. Let's get you inside. She started leading him toward the steps, but he wobbled and nearly fell. Mom, wait, I can't. Maggie gasped, covering her mouth. Oh, darling, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to almost pull you over. It's okay, Mom. Noel does that sometimes, just for fun. Just then, Noel arrived with the wheelchair. Only when he deserves it. Here, Mrs. B, let's get him into the chair. Henry, could you open the garage door? I'll help him up that one step. Henry, you push your son upstairs. I need to greet Noel. She turned and pulled Noel into a warm hug. Noel could sense she was crying and hugged her back. Noel, I can't thank you enough. He looks wonderful, and I know it must have been tough for you. No, Mrs. B, it was. That's not right. Forgive me for saying so. You have given everything for our family. Thank you. You're even better than a daughter. I bet you're tired after 4 days of travel. She nodded. Yeah, I am a little tired. I should go help Henry. We have a lot to discuss. Did you know? She nodded again and received another hug. Oh, I'm so happy for you both. And for me too. Welcome home. Jonah, are you sure this is a good idea? It's been almost a year since you got sick, and I think it's great we came to Colorado to visit your old favorite places. I love it here. It's so beautiful, so different from the East. Honestly, I didn't get to see much during my last visit. Just a few short hikes because someone kept me busy all the time. But those mountains, I used to love the Appalachians, but these are something else. Ever since I came here to help you, it feels like such a long time ago, yet also like yesterday. Strange, isn't it? Looking concerned. But it's 5 miles up and look at all the snow up there. It'll be okay, Noel. I'll take my time, and if I feel too tired, we can turn back. It's all downhill from there, and you can help me if I get too weak. Dream on. That's not happening, you goof. So we stop if you feel even a little tired, okay? Sure, Doc. Whatever you say. But what about your feet? They might still be a bit numb. What if they're getting cold and you don't notice? It's still pretty chilly. Noel? You're right. Sorry about that. It's above freezing and the trees have leaves. What's the worst that could happen? My toes might change color and fall off? No problem. I don't care much about toes anyway. So let's go. Suddenly stopping. Wait, do you hear that? Hear what? That soft buzzing sound. Where are those little guys? There they are. A small group of birds flew around and landed in a tree nearby. Waxwings. Waxwings? Birds, nature lover. They look a bit like cedar waxwings. They are really cool. They sit like they're royal or something, all neat and tidy. Then they suddenly start chattering and flitting around. They fly this way and that before landing again in a group. Then off they go to somewhere else. Awesome. Look at them go. How do you know all this, Noel? I used to spend my time at the park and the lake to avoid going home. Nature and its creatures were my friends. He hugged her, and they shared a quick kiss. They had walked nearly halfway up when she stopped. Jonah, look at those aspens. They are all twisted and strange. We need to check them out. What could have happened to them? Come on. She ran into the grove and began feeling the smooth, twisted trunks of the trees. They were hurt but still full of life. An avalanche did this, Noel. Look up. The snow builds up and slides down the hill. See how it has knocked down the trees above? They really picked a bad place to grow. She hugged the biggest tree. But they never gave up. Hard times came and they kept on growing. That's amazing. What are you doing with that tree? This one is the mother. Aspens make seeds, but mostly they spread by sending out roots for new ones to grow, like blackberries and raspberries. These are all her babies. Good job, Mama. Can we sit by that rock and just feel them for a while? Maybe she'll let me take one of her babies to raise at home. They settled down, hidden from the road when Noel saw 2 doves rush past through the trunks. Shh, someone's coming. Be quiet. Noel, how do you... Shh. Come on, Slowpoke, we have a place to reach. No dawdling, well, except give me another quick kiss. Eric, I love you so much. I can't believe you asked me to marry you in the parking lot at our favorite trail. It's about time. I was just about to ask you. From behind the rock, they could hear soft sounds. And this ring, Eric, it's the most beautiful thing ever. I have never loved someone as much as I love you. It's magical. We're going to be so happy. Adventure, travel, and places to explore. We're starting together in Idaho. Incredible. Oh, I love you. I feel like I'm floating up the mountain. Now let's get to the top. You can see everything around you, all the mountains and snow. And then, my friend, we're going to have our story. What did you do the day you got engaged? Such a great tale. More sounds nearby. No, Eric, not yet. When the time comes, I want to be the one leading. You can just enjoy it while I show my gratitude. Plus, with all this snow, I might need to layer down a bit. Hurry up, let's go. I'm already excited just thinking about it. Oh, Eric. Okay, stop. Save it for the top. Noel recognized the voice and placed her hand gently on Jonah's, squeezed it, and rested her other hand on his chest. He pushed back gently against her hand. She felt tears forming just thinking about how he must feel, and she leaned against him. Once the couple moved up the trail, she said, "I'm sorry, Jonah. That must have been really tough. Is there anything I can do? Should we head back down?" Tough? Yes. Those are nearly the exact words she said to me. Brings back a lot of good and bad times, abandonment. But it seems she's better off, and looking at Noel, I'm so much better off now. I guess I didn't mean as much to her as I thought. Just a stepping stone. Looks like my mom wasn't too thrilled about things. Jonah, can we talk for a minute? If Zoe goes to Idaho, I found out some things. Oh no. Nothing bad, but have you thought about living here or nearby? Sure, but awesome. I did some research. I spoke to your school and you could start your 4th year next fall and finish your degree. You've worked hard, so it would be a shame not to see it through. I also talked to Ariel, and the hospital is looking for nurses. What about my parents? They actually want to change. Someone's interested in buying the bakery so they can sell it there and open one here. There isn't a bakery in the whole county, and I found some good locations on Main Street. We'd have to check them out, but it looks promising. My mom and her team can visit whenever, So once again, you've decided my future. No, Jonah, I don't care where I live as long as I'm with you. These are just ideas. Looking into her eyes, he said, "They're great ideas, but I feel like I never really had a choice." What do you mean? Not since 9th grade when you made me yours? She smiled, tears still lingering, and snuggled closer. Nope. I never thought there would be so many twists and turns or that it would take this long. She laughed. I love you, Jonah, forever, no matter what comes our way. We may bend like these trees, but we will keep growing stronger. Our roots are linked together until the end, and maybe even beyond. And I love you, Noel. He hugged her and kissed her. I think we should celebrate right here by Mama Aspen. What do you think? She'll have to close her eyes. Look at where those lower branches came off. They look like eyes. Look away, Mama Aspen. She laughed. He loved her laughter. You don't have to ask me twice, big guy. I was hoping you'd say that. Yeah, there's something special about being close to Mama Aspen's roots, so I think you should be on the ground and closest to them. Nestle into her old leaves and sticks. You, silly. Kiss me. We can share the moment, and just so you know, I'm way happier than Zoe, and I'll be happy forever as long as I have you, Jonah. I think you made the right choice. Me too. A gentle breeze made all the leaves rustle, turning their light green to silvery white and creating a soft sound. She smiled and pulled him closer. Thank you, Mama Aspen, and thank you, life, she whispered. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Infidelity Plus to stay updated with more captivating tales of infidelity and payback. Turn on notifications so you're the first to see our latest content.